What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 2S Chapter 26 Reinforcements were sent, news that shocked the entire army. The terrifying Overlord Edge spreads across the sea, and the terrifying Scarlet Aura sweeps over all living creatures. With this sword swing, Tail will face the entire red-haired pirate group alone. There are 4 emperors and their full fighting power in front and behind. He has no regrets. Drink. Lightning surged violently on the sea surface. It only took Logia 4 short years to reach the level where he could fight against the 4 emperors. Sharp edges and lightning wreak havoc on everything around them. Almost no one can feel comfortable in this violent aura, even the friends of the red-haired pirates. Everyone is tenaciously resisting the terrifying confrontation on the warship. The Red Fourth is being repelled by the 2 conquerors' auras, gradually moving away from the head-on collision between Tyr and Shanks. "You are irredeemable," Tyr shouted violently, exploding with infinite power in his hands. The 2 blades did not collide, but formed a confrontation in the air. Shanks' one-arm strength gradually dropped, but he made up for it with his terrifying domineering power. The domineering power gathered in the center of the 2 blades is about to reach the critical point. Boom! A loud explosion exploded on the deck of the warship, and domineering energy rushed into the clouds. The clouds in the sky split, and all the clouds that blocked the sun dissipated. Drink. The lights and shadows of swords on the warship were dazzling. It was impossible to see the 2 men swinging their swords clearly, and countless sword winds spread towards the warships in all directions. With just one blow, the warship group where Tyr was located was cut in half. Shanks understands that it will be very difficult if Tyr is not defeated at close range. Because Tyr now has very powerful domineering power and is no longer just a Logia fruit user like before. "Don't hinder my movements, kid." 2 unparalleled conquerors' domination runs through the ocean, world and earth. Reinforcement. Requesting reinforcements. Telephone is having a fierce battle with the red-haired pirates in isolation. In the cabin of a warship, a colonel officer reported the intelligence information. The brains of everyone staying in the nearby sea will be shocked by the strong conquerors every second. Holy Land Maranjoya. 5 elders, not good. The moment the soldier learned the CP spy information, he quickly ran into the room where the 5 most powerful people in the world were. "Calm down, what happened? That young sailor. Are you a disciple of the Warring States period again?" One of the 5 elders had already guessed. Advertisement: the 5 warrior gods who oversee world policy gathered together and were looking at documents related to the 4 emperors' situation. This sudden news shocked them. There is a conflict between New World and the 4 emperors, and a colonel sent an urgent call for help. Contact Warring States immediately and dispatch the surrounding G bases to reinforce. Facing the 4 emperors, they did not dare to deploy too many people because there was a high probability that they would die. What Teal did far exceeded their expectations. As for why they sent warships to stop the group when they knew it was going to be destroyed, it was naturally to let the civilians of the world understand one thing. There are no quiet years, but there are people carrying the burden forward for them. This will make the world's people's aspirations more stable. Time to come to Marine headquarters. The moment Warring States heard the news, he covered his face and already predicted that something like this would happen. That idiot. I warned him not to be carried away by hatred. Can't he just investigate and get some information back? Fleet Admiral, do we need to send backup? Of course I want to send it. He carefully trained Teal for 4 years and had never seen a genius grow at such a terrifying speed. How could he give up on Teal? Besides, he had already experienced the pain of losing his disciple once. Then, who do we send? Where is Garp? Where is he now? Sengoku asked. Vice Admiral Garp is currently chasing his grandson in the Water City, and Admiral Aokiji is also on his ship. After hearing this, Warring States' face was extremely distressed. Was that a pursuit? He was obviously afraid of what happened on Justice Island that his grandson would do to shock the world, so he asked other Marines to take care of the Straw Hat Boy. Go and escort in person. That B*****************. D. Akainu. What is Akainu doing? Admiral Akainu's mission to prevent the beast pirates from breaking out in the New World is far away from the sea area where Tyr is located. General Kizaru is next door. Who can get there in time? Really alone? Warring States' mind at this moment was like a chess game. Everything was clearly under control, but there was a problem with Tyr. He suddenly thought of a man who was hunting ability users. Advertisement: where is the commander of the ability user guerrillas? The Windless Zone. It just so happens that the location of the 4 emperors' red and white beards is in the sea near the calm zone, very close to them. Ask that man to go and remember not to fight the 4 emperors, just rescue Tyr. The clash of powerful dominators means that anyone who cannot resist the collision of 2 conquerors' auras will fall asleep. Replenishing the numbers of weak people will not make any difference. Yes. Fleet Admiral. The soldier who conveyed the order to the 5 elders left, and another soldier who conveyed the news hurriedly walked in from outside. Fleet Admiral Marshal D. Teach fulfilled the agreed conditions of becoming a Shichibukai and captured the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Fire Fist Ace. How did he do it? Warring States was extremely shocked. I don't know, he also provided us with some information, please take a look. Warring States took over the sorting document and looked at the information above, and was immediately dumbfounded. The relevant intelligence information above is big news that can shock the world. Immediately prepare articles for newspapers and periodicals in each branch. Warring States was extremely happy. Whitebeard, I didn't expect you to be here today. The Scimitar battleship group sailed in the windless zone, enveloped by the strong aura generated by the battle between Tyr and Shanks. Ain, how many ability users have been captured this time? 7, Teacher Zephyr. Put them all in the Great Prison. The man stared at the place where the breath came, and concluded at a glance that there was a strong person fighting. Who is it? Red hair and white beard. He has purple hair, wears a black justice coat, and is muscular. There is a huge seafloor stone mechanical arm on his right hand. Brew. Just as he was preparing to lead his army to evacuate the windless zone, the Warring States order was conveyed to his guerrillas. Captain Zephyr Guerrilla, Sengoku Fleet Admiral ordered you to go to the nearby sea area where the red-haired pirate group is located to reinforce the reconnaissance fleet. Damn it, I'm an old man, and that B*************** D from the Warring States period still won't let me go. Zephyr complained through gritted teeth and a laugh. Not again. The military orders were overwhelming, and he had no choice but to go. Ain, Binzi, follow me. Shuzo, lead the battleship back. As commanded. Conquerors warring. Zephyr headed to the center of the battle alone with a battleship. Chapter 27 Chi Sea Rapids. Shortly after, he came to the sea area where Red Hair and Tyr were fighting and found that the surrounding warships were torn apart by the sword wind and shattered into pieces by conquerors. It feels so uncomfortable. Teacher Zephyr, what's going on with this terrifying domineering force? The Moby D***K is not here. Who is fighting whom? ZFA's warship passed through more than 10 warships, and there were no clouds in the sky over this sea area. Defeat. I will enter the little black box. Tyr's voice reached ZFA's ears. Win, I will be stronger. Boss. Marine's battleship is here. Following Tyr's violent shout, the amazing sword energy in his body rushed out from around his body. Shanks' conquerors can no longer be suppressed. This forced him to retreat again, and at the same time he activated his ability to predict the future. Shanks looked shocked. Tyr held the sword in both hands and roared to the sky. The terrifying explosion of sword energy caused the masts on the warship to be broken off, and the sides of the ship were hit hard by the sword energy. The rapids of the Sea of Air. Tail gathered the huge sword energy in his body and surged towards Shanks with the force of turbulent airflow. The surrounding ocean became turbulent due to Tyr's moves, and the water began to surge and roll. The Scarlet Storm also poured into the sword energy, causing them all to rush toward Shanks in a red color. The range is too big. There's no way to avoid it. Shanks firmly held the knife to resist. Until the huge air current drowned him instantly. A big move consumed a lot of Tyr's energy and made him gasp for breath. The people on board the red-haired pirates no longer sit still and wait to die. They fired domineering bullets at Tyr, not letting him breathe even for a second. It's been a long time since we met Whitebeard. We can't stay here with him. Kill him. Oh. The red-haired expression was exaggerated, as if he was affected by some irresistible terrifying force. He resisted one of Tyr's ultimate moves with all his strength, and countless sword energies wanted to tear through Conqueror's attack on his body. The shocked red-haired man fought against Tyr several times and found that his strength had greatly increased this time. Advertisement. The sword energy broke through Conqueror's aura wall and struck Shanks' forehead, causing a heavy blow. Shanks' body was injured, his strength was greatly reduced, and he was rushed into the sea by Tyr's move. Rikiru, you go rescue the captain, I'll hold him back. I'm also covering, ha, that kid has become stronger again, that's great, Jesus laughed. Everyone in the red-haired pirate group was extremely calm, as if they despised Tyr and could not pose a threat to them. Shanks' injury made them even more excited and fighting spirit. Releasing a large amount of fruit power, and then activating the sight to dodge the sharpshooter's bullets is undoubtedly a great mental and physical drain. Because Tyr needed a short breather to let his body recover. The ultra-high-speed sword fight just now made his limbs exhausted. Of course, the red-haired man was also in the same embarrassment and did not get any good results from Tyr's hands. Ben Beckman jumped out in one step, wrapped his fists around his weapons, touched them in the air, and blasted towards Tell. Phew. Whether it's you, Tyr gasped, his body still not fully recovered, or the old man with the white beard, they're all black. The black that Tyr refers to is what he considers evil. As long as it is black, it is absolutely impossible to be forgiven by him. Bang. The domineering fist struck the black knife of Tyr. He resisted tenaciously and tilted his head to avoid a bullet fired by Jesus. With the help of Teal's ability to predict the bullet by using the color of his knowledge, Ben Beckman took the opportunity to aim at Teal's cheek and punched him on the cheek, making him dizzy and retreating on the spot. Taylor staggered back a few steps and steadied himself. A trace of blood flowed from his nostrils, and his expression was a little uncomfortable. In the sea, Shanks was supported by Lakiru and came back to the surface to cough. "I'm fine, Lakiru." Although he was hit into the sea by Tyr's ultimate move, only a little blood flowed from his forehead. Instead, the seawater became his buffer against Tyr's huge sword energy. "Rocksta is a good man," Ben Beckman said as he hit Taylor's body. "You just know your own damn people. You kill other important people and you don't mention it at all." Anger turned into Tyr's strength, his cheek resisted Ben Beckman's armed fist, and then he slashed at him with the black knife. When Beckman saw this, he blocked his body with his hands and was pushed back by Teal. "Since you like that woman so much, I'll give you a ride." A man on the Red Foss condensed a laser with his mouth and sprayed it towards Tyr. Advertisement. At this moment, Tyr's eyes saw the laser suddenly shrinking, and he was about to gather his sword energy shield in front of him to resist it. A majestic figure appeared in front of him. He was. Tyr knew this man, his cloak and the color of his hair. Zephyr instructor. Tyr was stunned. He knew that there would be no support. How could Zephyr, who often hunted ability users on the Grand Route, show up here? "Ha ha ha, I didn't expect you to know me." Zephyr stretched out the Hylu stone mechanical arm and crushed all the lasers in the mechanical palm. But the next second, red lightning suddenly rose in the air in front of the two of them. Shanks, who had returned to the Red Voss, jumped up and slashed Zephyr in the air. "It's over, Tyr." Shanks showed his domineering attitude and unleashed a powerful slash. "Get out of the way." Tyr pushed Zephyr away, trying to split Shanks' griffin-like sword energy slashes, but found that it could not be broken down at all. "It's over." Tyr's pupils suddenly shrank into tiny needles, staring at Shanks' moves. Boom! The griffin instantly enveloped him and rushed him into the seabed. Blood spurted out of Tyr's mouth, but he did not lose consciousness. He didn't know how many battles he had gone through and how many times he had fallen into the sea. "I'm used to being injured, so what I have to solve now is how to get back to the sea." A huge explosion occurred in the only standing warship. Zephyr was blown away on the spot with his arms in front of him. "Former Marine General Black Arm Zephyr, is he going to hinder us too? That guy is a devil fruit user. It's over if he falls into the water." Shanks withdrew the blade and was covered in veins. Half of his face was stained red with blood. "Haha, the self-righteous four emperors," Zephyr said with a smile after being rescued by the guerrillas on the battleship. He was a little unwilling to do so, as the strength of his old age and frail body could not even resist a move from the youngest four emperors in the New World. "How wonderful it would be if this was when I was young," Zephyr thought as he looked at the sea. The passionate experience of fighting against powerful pirates is still fresh in his memory. "Are you okay, Captain?" Baixiong came behind the red-haired man and worried about the injury on his forehead. At this moment, the red-haired griffin, holding the red lightning blooming, looked into the sea, raised the blade and pointed it at the scimitar battleship where Zephyr was. No one can go down to save him. Although the red-haired man was injured, he still looked as domineering as a man who was fine. Chapter 28. 10,000 swords returned to the clan, covering the sky and the earth. The conquerors on Griffin's sword shocked everyone on ZFA's battleship. As long as someone dares to act rashly, the red-haired man will wield his sword and give him a domineering slash. "Haha, Marine will not obey the orders of pirates." Zephyr ordered the rescue of Tyr. He blocked the upper deck on the side of the battleship alone, preparing to face the red-haired pirates alone. "Zephyr, you are old, think about your life for these subordinates." "Ha ha ha, he really looks like Roger back then." Zephyr grinned, not afraid of the red-haired Shanks at all. When two brave Marines jumped into the water, bang bang. Jesus Bu directly picked up his sniper rifle and fired bullets at them, killing them on the spot and falling into the sea. "I'm trying to prevent a serious situation in the world from going riot. You Marines will only get in the way." Seeing that Zephyr did not listen to the dissuasion, the red-haired man slashed into the water below the battleship. The powerful slashing impact pushed them away from the sea area, including Zephyr, who could only use his mechanical arm to block in front of him to resist. "Nothing can be done. Let's go," sail to Whitebeard's place. The Red Fourth began to sail towards the agreed place where Whitebeard was in front of the sea. At the same time that a huge battle occurred in the New World, a warship on the Grand Line sailed toward the Holy Land Mary Jo. "Blackbeard," Teach said to Ace, who was seriously injured on the deck of the warship. "The Straw Hat Boy is actually your younger brother. This is really shocking news to the world. Do you know why Dad accepted you as the captain of the 2nd Division? What do you want to do, Teach?" Ace was bruised and couldn't move because he was leaning against the stone, so he could only let himself be slaughtered. "He has become the trigger in Blackbeard's plan. The agreement with the world government." "Ha ha ha ha." Blackbeard laughed. "Originally I was going to the capital of Seven Waters to capture your brother. Forget it, now is the time." Ace's identity is known to very few people, but he is a veteran-level pirate on Whitebeard's ship. Does he know this? Blackbeard gave Marine a piece of information that shocked the world. Going to Mariahio again. Lafitte suddenly panicked. What's wrong, Lafitte? Blackbeard noticed something strange about him. Why do you look a little scared? Captain, you were right, that Tyr is really a monster. What happened to you? Lafitte's last experience is still unforgettable to this day. He almost died at the hands of Tyr, and he didn't tell Blackbeard the news. It's a great shame. I was stepped on the ground by him to reach an agreement with the Warring States period. Ah, why didn't you tell me before? Blackbeard looked at Marine nervously. Hey, Marine. That B************ D won't attack us when we go to the Holy Land, right? Sword God Tyr has gone on a mission. Besides, now that you are going according to Shichibukai agreement, no one will do anything to you, the soldier said to them. That's great. I will definitely get rid of the harm to Marine, thief ha 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 ha. He had a bushy build and several teeth missing from his mouth. He looks very rough and arrogant. Just one look makes you uncomfortable. Lieutenant General Kesha personally brought them to the Holy Land to enjoy the special treatment of the 7 warlords of the sea. Advertisement. New world. In the deep sea, Tyr was constantly being pulled into the depths of the ocean by the curse. In front of him, a sword blade was condensing and forming, gradually wrapping around the black knife and screaming. Hurry up. You have to rely on others every time. You are no longer a child. Taylor thought to himself. He broke the rules of nature, and after an hour of slow sinking, he finally fully covered the black knife with rare fruits. He grabbed the black knife wrapped in sword energy and used the sword energy as thrust to rush towards the sea surface. After a while, he surfaced. Ahem. Tyr coughed out a mouthful of seawater and found that the soldiers around him had woken up while lying on the dilapidated warship. Aren't you a devil fruit user? How did you get out of the water on your own after falling into the water? Is this impossible? Seeing Tyr, who broke common sense, the soldiers who woke up felt like they had seen a ghost. Tyr found a wooden board and lay down on it, looking at the blue sky. Where are the red-haired pirates? Tyr asked. We failed. They and the Whitebeard pirates should have met by now. We failed in our responsibilities, damn it. Seeing that morale was so low that everyone was depressed, Tyr rested for a short while and took to the air. Tyr spat out a drop of blood. It's hard to say let go of hatred. After resting for a while, he went to where Whitebeard and Shanks were. Over the sea, Tyr walked with a seagull that was not afraid of him. Aren't you afraid of me? Tyr wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his body still felt the pain left by Bearman's fist. The seagull shook its head at him and flew away, hee. Because, Tyr has entered the sea area where the Whitebeard pirates and the red-haired pirates are in contact. Let's get started, Tyr said with his sword finger in his left hand. His fingers trembled with force, and sword energy spurted out of his body. Suddenly, his whole body emitted a terrifying light that shot up to the clouds, and his shining eyes rushed into the clouds like a god. Tons, as Moby D***K boarded, Whitebeard took a sip of wine and sighed. Roger, Garp, during the Warring States period, there were a lot fewer people who were familiar with the sea at that time. Whitebeard's expression suddenly became serious and he looked at the wound on Shanks' forehead. After all, it happened 22 years ago, of course. What happened when you came here just now? Is that the Conqueror's fighting breath? The small conflict with Marine will not affect our subsequent conversation, Shanks said calmly with a bandage on his forehead. Ha 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 ha, a small conflict will not let all the domineering energy spread here. Whitebeard desperately wanted to know what happened, and he already knew the answer in his heart. And the ending of their 2 sons and 1 daughter. It's been solved, it's okay. Red Hair sat cross-legged in front of Whitebeard and said, I only came to see you for one thing this time, Whitebeard. You are so proud, Red Hair, what on earth is going on? Advertisement Shanks, who no longer wanted to be nagging, directly explained the purpose of his visit to Whitebeard. Regarding Ace and Blackbeard, he wanted to prevent a war from happening. What he doesn't know is that Ace has been defeated by Blackbeard. Negotiations between the two soon broke down, leading to a confrontation between the two. In the clouds. The time that Tyr was waiting for has arrived, and the sword energy aura condensed on his body has become extremely large. Snapped. With a clap of his hands, he released countless sword energy hanging above the clouds, which was a spectacular scene. The sword energy and sword blades pierced the sky and were completely released from Tyr's body, covering everything below like the sky and the sun. The 2 men fighting on the Moby D***K immediately realized something was wrong, and they pushed each other back and stared at the sky. What happened to the sky? Said a man with a pineapple head. The sky and the earth are dark, and thousands of swords reach the sky. Tyr floated in the sky and appeared in front of everyone from the only ray of sunlight. Looking down at them like a real sword god. He's not dead, what's going on? Shouldn't that kid be sunk into the sea by us? He is a devil fruit user? Hey, this isn't good. Haha, you arrogant marine brat, how dare you come here, Whitebeard noticed the countless sword blades hanging densely under the clouds. Drink. Tyr conquerors wrapped around the black knife, and then threw it toward the red fourth below. Whitebeard, if you don't stop teach, there will be no need for us to talk anymore. The iron rule cannot be violated. Bang! The black sword stabbed into the deck of Red Foss with a mournful cry, and was inserted into the body of a red-haired pirate group leader, continuously releasing Conqueror's hockey to the surroundings. Ah! Gab. That B***************** D brat, does he really want revenge? You are really in harmony. Could this be called, Tyr said, stretching his arms to the sky, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Tile kid, do you want to die? Whitebeard said with a white halo of light on his hand. 10,000 swords returned to the clan, a thought in Tyr's mind. The sword blade in the sky began to stir restlessly. Ha 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 ha, die. I've already died once. Tyr, who didn't plan to say anything, directly launched his most powerful move against them. Countless flying swords condensed by Tyr's sword energy are all over the sky. The swords are as powerful as nets, fierce and unparalleled, and it is a spectacle. They lined up in the clouds and launched a devastating attack on them like a rain of swords and meteors. Tyr stared at the red-haired pirate ship below with a calm expression. That be ************ D who could spit out lasers from his mouth. At least kill him. You hurt my cadre and killed my comrades, and you have to pay for it. Shanks drew his sword and glared at Tyr. You damn well know the price. As a pirate who talks a lot of truth, do you really think no one dares to go against you now? When Tyr heard such words again, he felt extremely angry. Chapter 29. The terrifying sword sound. The black sword blades in the sky were arranged neatly, and each sword fell to the red-haired pirate group's ship at a very fast speed. Drink. Whitebeard launched his fruit ability directly into the sky, tearing apart the void in front of Tyr's ultimate move. The moment the terrifying aura of the shock fruit ability rushed into the sky, it was blocked by Tyr's control of hundreds of swords forming a sword shield. What a genius that is rare in a century. Whitebeard couldn't help praising Tyr as he watched his moves being swallowed up by hundreds of swords and shields. Such a huge move is quite taxing on the body, right? Didn't Tyr know that he had no chance of winning? He was already in a tough fight against 4 emperors, and below him were 2 complete groups of 4 emperors. Boom! Hongfa swung a swordwind with all his strength to cut away the clouds, and much of Tyr's sword energy covering the world was destroyed at once. Baixiong. Ben Beckman came to Gabu and pulled out the black knife he was wearing and screamed, "Hurry and show him his injuries." Garbu's chest was penetrated. "Separating you is also a task," Tyr said coldly. Accelerating the flight speed of countless flying swords. "Young man, go inside the cabin, you can't bear this kind of scene." The captain of the Whitebeard Pirates' 1st Division activates the fruit ability. Spread out the blue flame wings of the phoenix and fly into the air to block Tyr's flying sword. All the flying swords attacking the Moby D***K were intercepted in midair. Are you able to block it? Seeing this, Tyr let the flying sword that continued to attack wrap with armed domineering energy, black sword. The flying swords flying towards Marco were all wrapped with armed hockey. What a tricky ability. Marco laughed and flew back to the deck of the Moby D***K. If you continue to transform and resist, you will be hurt by the domineering energy. Gorgeous rose petals were floating in the air, and a double-sword swordsman immediately jumped into the air and slashed. Rose dance. The domineering flying sword was torn in the air by Rose. The captains of the Whitebeard Pirates intercepted Tyr's attacks in the sky one after another. At this moment, Tyr knew very well that his power could not pose a threat to them, and Whitebeard himself had not yet exerted his strength and was standing on the deck with a look of disdain for Tyr. "Gu la la la, Tyr kid, your target doesn't seem to be us. Aren't you too arrogant to fight against 4 emperors with 1 person?" Compared to Moby D***K, it can be said that all members of the red-haired pirates have fallen into the target of the return of the Tallman sword. Everyone is trying their best to resist Tyr's countless swords and blades that fill the sky. Tyr looked at the lion-like man below, and he just wanted to take him away. "This knife," Ben Beckman said, holding Tyr's knife to resist Tyr's flying sword, "it's so useful. Come back." Seeing this, Tyr pulled fiercely towards Whale. Beckman did not let go, and his whole figure seemed to be sucked into the air by huge gravity. Realizing that something was wrong, he immediately let go of his hand and returned to the deck when he was hit by a huge sword energy. Beckman used his armed color to wrap around to resist. Advertisement: the sword energy caused sparks on his arms. The black knife returned to Tyr's hand. The sword energy should have been injected enough. Half of the sword body of the black sword was inside that damn guy. Tyr looked at Gabu, who was covering his wound on the red fourth. "Tiffany, I will avenge you slowly, but if I stay any longer, I'm afraid I will be killed by these 2 pirate groups," Tyr thought to himself. He was almost alone, with only 1 Zephyr warship watching the battle in the distance, and he had no power to fight at all. It seemed as if they were waiting for Tyr to be defeated and fished him out of the sea. Ahem. Tyr gritted his teeth and was a little reluctant. His body had already consumed a lot of energy fighting Shanks. He was hit to the bottom of the sea and soaked in seawater, causing his body to tremble continuously. The flying sword shot faster and faster, gradually brightening the covered sky. The sun penetrates through the sea, and the rays of sunshine are like a spectacle. After a while, this sea area will welcome the warmth of the sun again. You'd better not come in contact with me. Whenever you guys come in contact, countless islands in the world will be plundered by pirates. Every time the 4 emperors come into contact, Marine will send a lot of troops to stop it, resulting in a thin military force in some parts of the sea. Pirates who live and enjoy plundering by force will take this opportunity to crazily snatch supplies on the sea. Tyr has seen too much in these years following the lieutenant general on expeditions. It was still Marine who ended up cleaning up their mess. In order to restore some physical strength, Tyr had no choice but to take the remaining sword energy back into his body. Faced with the contempt of the 2 big pirate groups, Tyr decided not to give them any good looks before retreating. All the remaining sword energy poured into Tyr's body. This sea area became brighter. What's wrong? Don't you want to fight, you kid? You don't really think you can kill us, do you? In the face of provocation, Teal dealt with it rationally. Pour a large amount of sword energy into the black sword blade. Subsequently, he kicked the knife handle. He kicked the black knife in his hand towards the pirate ship again, but this time it was in the middle of the sea between the sides of the 2 ships. The wailing blade is surrounded by Tyr's conquerors and fruit abilities, which are very large. The sound of the sword fluctuates and condenses, a thought in Tyr's mind. The wailing blade released a sword-crying melody, spreading to the surrounding sea. The melody causes strong ripples on the sea surface. Tyr flicked the fingers of his left hand to gather sword energy. What are you up to, Dad? That knife stopped between us and the red-haired pirate's side of the ship. Marco climbed onto the side of the ship, stuck his head out and watched the black knife scream. Ah, I know, I have a bad feeling. There is no place to stand in the air, Captain, don't rush up here. Beckman reminded the red-haired man. Advertisement: the red-haired man's super-powerful ability to predict the future has already predicted what Ty will do in advance. He said in surprise, that B************* D wants to force us to separate from the Whitebeard pirates. What kind of future do you see? What is he going to do? We're 2 big pirate ships. Jesus was puzzled. Hurry up, the armor on the left side of the hull, hurry. The next second, Tyr turned into a sword body airflow in the air and rushed towards his black sword between the 2 ships. He suddenly appeared in front of the black sword at a speed as fast as a giant. The sword of Baichuan roars. Tyr's left sword finger had already accumulated a large amount of sword energy and flicked it towards the wailing blade with all his strength. Ding! A huge shock wave of several tens of feet spread out into the sea like an explosion. Deafening. Boom! The terrifying sword roar impacted the 2 4 Emperor's pirate ships, pushing them away in opposite directions. The side of the Mordic was instantly hit and damaged by explosions, and Whitebeard used his own strength to fight against Jian Ming. Drink. The atmosphere was torn apart by Whitebeard's punch. The power of the earthquake was evaded by Tyr with elemental transformation, and he went straight towards the main ship of the red-haired pirates. Everything is in vain. The ocean has formed a whirlpool. If this were on land, he would definitely be killed instantly by 2 groups, but there were not enough standing points on the sea. Whitebeard is also worried that his fruit power will be too powerful and affect his sons. Under the ocean where Tyr floated, the sea formed a huge ocean pit in a concave and convex shape and expanded in all directions. The shock wave pushed the seawater, almost making the 2 imperial groups move away quickly without any ability to parry. The impact spread like ripples one after another and did not stop until the 2 boats disappeared. The moment the sound of the sword stopped, the seawater crazily filled the deep pits, causing an unknown tsunami disaster in the New World. Ah! Steady the boat quickly. No, the range of that guy's moves is too large. Gululu. After unleashing his ultimate move, Tyr was a little weak and flew towards the surging red fosse. The main ship of the red-hair pirates capsized on the violent sea, and everyone fell into the sea. I really hope you are capable people. In that case, I can wipe out all of you. Tyr felt that it was really a pity. Taking advantage of this good opportunity, he would take away the big man who killed Tiffany. Where? He looked for them over the waves he owned. Not a moment later, Tyr found Gabu of the red-haired pirates in the deep sea, and used the sword energy that had just been poured into his body to wreak havoc on his body. He fell into a coma, and was then taken away behind his back by Tyr. Dividing line. Note. There will be a follow-up story about Tiffany from Teal. The previous romance was too watery. Chapter 30 Pirates and Marine. Go quickly. Teacher, if we are affected, we will be destroyed. While Tyr was looking for the 2 royal groups to liquidate, all the other sailors who fell into the water from the reconnaissance fleet were rescued by Zephyr and placed on the battle armor. It's over. The battleship has no guardrails and will be easily rolled over by the sea. I told you to wait. That little guy from Tyr is our mission target, Zephyr shouted to calm everyone down. After a while, they found Tyr flying towards them on the sea. Ha ha ha, what a boy, hurry, hurry. Waiting for Tyr's figure to approach, everyone immediately noticed blood spilling from the corner of Tyr's mouth. Even so, it is nothing greater than the hatred for the person behind him. Even so, Tyr was not at all afraid of the 4 emperors who stood at the top of the pirates. 3 super moves, fighting with the red-haired close-quarters swordsman. It consumes too much energy. Fortunately, Teal's basic physical abilities are strong enough and he is lucky enough. Get ready, doctor. Yes. Tyr fell weakly from the air and fell onto the deck. He staggered a little and was supported by several soldiers. I told you not to fight. We don't have the strength to fight the 4 emperors, Mr. Teal. Gentlemen. The soldier's words impressed Tyr. He had never heard anyone call him sir. This is an honorific. I saw that Marine's hope for the future came back alive, Zephyr said happily. At the same time, he was also very pleased, although Tyr was not taught by Zephyr. At the end of the era of great pirates who worship pirates and peek at great secret treasures. Marine is lucky to have such a talented person in Marine. Haha. Tyr looked at Zephyr with a wry smile. Can you take me to branch 262? No problem, get treatment as soon as possible. The flesh and blood in your body will not be comfortable after a battle between strong men. Tell was brought into the infirmary by the military doctor. This guy is a leader of the red-haired pirates, and he actually has the energy to arrest one of them. Damn it. Gabu said with blood dripping from the corner of his mouth, am I going to end up with Rox? Needless to say, he will be worse off than Rox, who is not dead yet. He may not be sure. Today Zephyr is the iron-blooded faction in Marine and will not show any compromise or kindness to pirates. Unless you are an able person. The battle situation was quickly reported to the headquarters by Zephyr, which made warring states furious. Because the situation has gone beyond his plan, the 2 red-haired friends were captured by Marine, both of whom were captured by Tyr. The redhead, who always values his partners, will never sit idly by. Advertisement. He regards his companions as everything. In the infirmary. Muscle pain, swelling and pain. This is normal, it's okay. What's going on with these scars? Are they fresh injuries? Their bodies were covered with bruises, causing cold sweat to break out on the foreheads of the 2 military doctors. All were fatal injuries that penetrated the body. Both before and after. You know, Teal is only 1.9 meters tall, close to 2 meters tall, and is considered a shorter person in this world. It's really shocking that he is still alive with such injuries. Well, it's an old injury, Taylor responded. Why do the pirates call you crazy, Mr. Tell? Then do you think I'm crazy? The 2 soldiers looked at Tyr and shook their heads, feeling that he now looked like a dull child. I'm just an ordinary person who values feelings. Tyr said, madman, sword god, etc. are all passed down by others. He is said to be a swordsman among the military and a madman among pirates. Now Tyr doesn't think it matters no matter what, because he has caught the enemy who killed Tiffany. The obstacles in my heart were finally let go. The trauma caused by the battle a year ago has been hurting for a year, and it is getting better now. Teal cannot live in the past forever, but he must draw an end to the past. Don't say that, Mr. Tell, you deserve respect. I am respected. Tyr felt that he did not deserve to be respected. Being carried away by anger in order to fight, the people on the warship fell into disaster. The reconnaissance fleet group was all destroyed. Many soldiers were also sacrificed. You are still a shining star in the army. I just wanted to take personal revenge. Don't be like this, Mr. Tell. If it weren't for you, we might be completely wiped out. Ha ha ha, how lucky I am to survive under the 4 emperors themselves. Tyr showed a smile, a lot of relief. I am hungry. The food is all soaked, please be patient, all right. Advertisement. Pirates in Tyr's heart, pirates of whatever level are unacceptable. For example, even if they themselves do not do evil, the forces under their command have killed countless innocent people. Those high-ranking pirates were full of truth and advice. They themselves cannot live up to their words. After the huge battle initiated by Tyr privately, the Moby D*K returned to its original sea area. There are debris and pieces of wood everywhere. How can we salvage the 3 captains? Dad. Somewhere on the sea near the Moby D*K, a faint sound caught the attention of Whitebeard himself. Among the 3 people who were maimed and on the verge of death by Tell, only Whitey had a broken arm and was still alive. Whitey. The Moby D*K moved closer, and everyone in the Whitebeard pirates stared at the 3 people on the white-faced wooden board with their mouths open. The only way to describe the missing parts of their bodies is as horrific. Except for Whitey, the other 2 were in miserable condition comparable to human pigs, with 3 limbs missing. Dad, that damn guy defeated the 2 ships Schoolyard and AO with just 1 knife. Hurry and rescue them. At this moment, Tyr owed hatred in Whitebeard's heart, a hatred that could not be forgiven by benevolence and righteousness. But he never understood that Tyr was not afraid of his reputation and strength at all. My steel icebreaker was also chopped into pieces by his knife. Whitey had a look of fear on his face. She was still recalling the damage caused by the flying sword, which cut off her arm without mercy. Kill me, Dad, please let me go. Schoolyard only had one leg left, and it was a great shame for him to be alive. Scarred. And me, Dad. Ao reached out and touched Whitebeard's black boots. Don't let me live in such a mess. I can't stand it anymore. On the deck of the Moby D*K, except for Whitebeard himself, who was angry at these scenes, no one else could bear to see their misery. Whitebeard, who would never kill his sons, planned to take them back to Finks Island and install them with mechanical prostheses so that they could live a more dignified life. I'm very lucky. The bottom of my battleship happens to be made of steel, which blocked most of that guy's flying sword attacks. Whitey, it's time for you to take a rest. Yes, Dad. Marines and pirates are absolutely mortal enemies, and both sides have human kinship within them. However, Marine is dedicated to the public. The pirates are a group of desperados who only want to rob their hometown for their own partners. Marine protects the order of the sea in order to promote its development. Pirates, on the other hand, want freedom in their own lives, not being bound by any rules or order, and living as they please on the sea, invading villages, towns, and even cities. The difference is obvious. Chapter 31 put an end to bad love. Food City is a town near Puji Island, 262 Marine Branch Base Coast. Go back quickly, Tyr, we are waiting for you, The Zephyr warship docked, and Tell dragged Gabu's huge body towards the warship. If you kill me, the captain will never let you go. Gabu was tied up with thick ropes. Plus physical injuries, he has no power to resist. The so-called bond of a pirate is meaningless to me, Tyr said coldly. In this way, a red-haired pirate group leader was dragged from the street to the top of a mountain on the island. A beautiful spot overlooking the entire island. The surrounding area is covered with pink flowers, and the grass is dancing in the wind. A tomb built by Tyr's own hands sits at the edge of the mountain. Tiffany. Taylor raised the corners of his mouth and walked to the tombstone with a smile and sat down. You be *********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** emperors over a woman? Garbu opened his mouth and cursed angrily. The modified technology in his mouth condensed the laser for a moment, and Tyr turned around and punched him in the throat. Start a war? Do you deserve it? Stop him from firing his mouth cannon, and then rip out his mechanical tongue. Hiccup. Gabu choked on the spot and made a weird sound from his tongueless mouth. Only at this moment did he realize that Tyr really wanted to kill him. Look, Tyr touched the tombstone, who I brought you, Tiffany. Tyr felt that he would never be so sad in front of a tombstone before he died. This is the price of touching feelings. I often miss the days when you taught me how to practice swordsmanship. He took out the black knife again and inserted it in front of Tiffany's grave. After listening to Tell's words, Gabu fell to the ground as if lifeless and lifeless. Looking at the bloody tongue in front of him, he knew that he was going to die. Tell stood up and picked up the black knife. But I have to go, dear Tiffany. There are still many things waiting for me to do in this life, and it's time for our affairs to come to an end. Tyr will never touch love or anything like that again. I will only touch love, I will never be emotional again. A gust of warm wind blew through the tips of Taylor's hair, blowing the hair behind his hair back. Advertisement Tell walked behind Garbu with a black knife and stood up. He held the knife with both hands backwards and pointed it at his head. You must pay for everything you have done, pirate. No. Gabu, who was timid to the extreme, made a voice that Tall couldn't understand. He tried his best to beg for mercy with both hands, but Tyr did not give him this chance. The knife was stabbed from top to bottom, causing Gabu's body to straighten instantly. After about a minute, he lost any sign of life. Then, Gabu's body was controlled by Tell to fly over the nearby jungle, and was quickly torn into powder and disappeared in the air. This time he really killed the leader of the red-haired pirates. A smile from the heart appeared on Tyr's face, which was not as intimidating as before. A hurdle in my heart seemed to be relieved. Although doing so will increase the red-haired pirate's hatred of Tail, he is not afraid at all. What the red-haired pirates dared to do, Tyr also dared to do. After everything is done, Tyr returned to the battleship and sailed back towards Malinfondo at full speed, arriving at the headquarters dock port in less than 2 days. Marine headquarters dock. The second the battleship arrived, the phone bug on Tyr's body rang. Are you back, Tyr? Arrived at the military port, teacher. Come over here. He knew he would be scolded. After all, killing the 4 Emperor's cadres would cause public outrage among the forces under the 4 Emperor's regiment. Ha. I won't go see that B***************** D from the Warring States period. Just say goodbye, Tyr. Zephyr laughed after hearing the movement. Okay, I owe you a favor, Zephyr instructor. I am no longer an instructor, Zephyr said bluntly. I am now pursuing my dream when I was young. I am Z, ha. Ha 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 ha, you old stubborn. As soon as Tyr said this, Zephyr punched him in the head. What a stubborn old man. It's Z. Okay, Taylor responded, holding his head in his hands. Z. Don't be confused, Tyr, you are upright and in your best years. At the age of 18, he had Conqueror's Armed Color, Wisdom Color, and the Sword Chi fruit defined as Lobia. He has already surpassed countless strong men in the old era. Who can not be envious and jealous? ZFA's battleship group quickly replenished supplies at the dock, and immediately returned to the Grand Line after completion. Taylor flew directly to the headquarters building. Advertisement after the soldiers of Malinfondo discovered Tyr, they all looked at him with awe. Outside the sliding door of Marine Fleet Admiral's office. Tyr was discovered by warring states before he entered. Come in and close the door. Oh. Tyr walked in and immediately saw Sangguo's serious eyes. He held the black knife in front of him with both hands. I've heard about the operation, Tyr. Sengoku said. What happened to the red-haired pirate leader? Died. I don't want you to be like Akainu, Tyr. I am not like General Akainu. I am just acting according to what is right in my heart. Your style of doing things will make you die young. I don't have any relatives now, and nothing can hurt me. If I die on the path of justice, it doesn't matter. In this case, warring states felt a pang in his heart. He regarded Tyr as a relative, and he spent all his power to cultivate Tyr at all costs. After hearing this, warring states scolded Tyr for a long time. What he didn't understand was that Teal didn't know how to look at the world from his position. If an important cadre of 4 emperors dies, there will definitely be a big fuss in the new world. That means many people will die, and Sengoku, as the Marine Fleet Admiral, must pay close attention to these and consider these. But Tyr is different, he doesn't think so. Forget it, you are my disciple. Warring states continued to process the documents, feeling a little helpless about Tyr's report. I found that the bandage tied in front of Tyr's body did not match the grin on his face at all. Are you hurt? Well, I was hit by the red hair's domineering slash. The warring states period felt a little heartbroken for Tyr, who suffered such treatment just in his youth. He was covered in bruises, and he always complained about the warring states period. I don't blame warring states at all. Zephyr wrote in the report, what happened when you were sunk into the sea? Who rescued you at that time? Self-help. Self-rescue? Warring states was very surprised. How to save yourself in the ocean with devil fruit powers. I used the fruit's ability to fly out of the bottom of the sea, but it took me an hour to succeed. Chapter 32 New Mission. This is undoubtedly breaking the first unchanging rule of the world. Warring states thought that Tyr usually trained with seafloor stone handcuffs to increase his physical ability, but he did not expect to make this discovery that shocked the world. You always surprise me, forget it. I've had some bad premonitions lately, Tyr. Teacher, you said, as long as I can help you relieve your worries, you can go. About the crocodile meeting, the new Shichibukai vacancy has been filled. I have a bad feeling about the Blackbeard pirates. Teacher, what are you worried about? There was no one in the office, so Tai called Sengoku teacher. On the surface, it has to be called Fleet Admiral. I sent people to investigate the Blackbeard, but there was no clue about his identity. Blackbeard was originally a member of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. He is from the Whitebeard Pirates. Sengoku was a little shocked, or the 2nd team? Is this a coincidence? Or does he have a deep grudge with Fire Fist Ace? I didn't know this. Taylor actually knew very well and pretended not to know. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have let him become a Shichibukai, but now he has become a Shichibukai. Do you need me to do anything? Taylor asked. I need you to go to the Holy Land to monitor them. If your injuries are not healed yet, there is no need. No, I'll go. Tyr interrupted Warring States' concern. Such a decisive answer saved the Warring States period a lot of trouble. The Shichibu currently gathered in the Holy Land include Hawkeye, Blackbeard, Teach, and Doflamingo. Sengoku said, Bartholomew Bear was sent by me to the Thriller Bark to arrest the Straw Hats. Have they reached the Thriller Bark yet? Teal was a little surprised that it happened so quickly. Thinking about it, the timeline is also right. Just in time, I want to go to the Holy Land and have a feast of delicious food from all over the world, ha ha ha. Are you serious, Tyr? Of course, I'm very happy that you didn't punish me. It just so happens that the Blackbeard Pirates have no officers assigned to guard them. Then I'll go. Telco didn't take the Blackbeard Pirates seriously at all. So, Teal, who had just returned to the headquarters, received a new task. On the coffee table on the balcony outside the Warring States office, Teal did not set out immediately after receiving the new task. He got a day off. At this moment, he was holding up his teacup and facing the rising sun and the boundless sea outside Malinfondo. Remember to go to the military hospital for a checkup, Taylor. Warring States' voice came to his ears from the office. I know. Taylor responded. After countless battles and training, his body has become less fragile than before. But it was still very uncomfortable to receive a blow from the front, and the inside of the body felt like vomiting. But Teal has now recovered. Tyr recalled all the mistakes he made during the initial mission and told the pirates all sorts of useless truths. It's ridiculous when you think about it. Advertisement. It's better to go to the hospital. The level of medical care in this world is extremely terrifying. As long as he doesn't die, there is a high probability that he can be saved. Many soldiers in the military port were training, all talking about something. You don't know that as soon as I woke up, the sky was covered with sword blades, and the sky was completely covered in darkness. Isn't that right? It's thanks to Tyr that we survived. Here we come. Look, Sword God Tyr. During Marine Fando's morning training, the soldiers who survived the reconnaissance mission were once again promoting Tell's deeds. Tell, who was passing by them not far away, heard these things and couldn't help but smile on his face. He doesn't need to show off his skills, he will be praised by the soldiers after every mission. Some recruits greeted Teal directly with a military salute. Teal only responded to them with smiles. I really don't know if I will have the opportunity to work with him on a mission in the future. News of the battle with the 4 emperors spread among the army, making Ty feel a little embarrassed. Everything he passed was a rumor. Arrive at Marinefondo Military Hospital. Tyr looked at the changed attending doctor with some displeasure. Unpleasant, Taylor said with a look of disgust. Don't think too much. In my eyes, you are just a bunch of moving organs. The beautiful military doctor said. Then you are also a pile of organs, Taylor retorted. You. As soon as she finished speaking, Tyr was punched by her, but this time Tyr subconsciously dodged it. Well, they say that the disciples of the Warring States period are naughty, and it seems to be true. Huh, I'm not just naughty. Taylor walked in. Take off your clothes and let her ravage you. Generally, when you go to the hospital, you can tell your physical condition from the doctor's expression. However, the beautiful doctor in front of Tyr in the infirmary frowned more and more. This worried Taylor. My body. Is it okay? Don't scare me. Tyr looked at her expression and said with some worry. Hey, so young. Tyr was shocked. What does it mean to be so young? Could it be? Hey, what's wrong with my body? I don't feel anything wrong, Tyr said uncomfortably. As the saying goes, if you are not afraid of the doctor laughing, you are afraid of the doctor sighing and frowning when checking the injury. Too young, hey. The female military doctor shook her head again. That's what you said. Advertisement. Speaking of youth, the attending female military doctor looks to be in her 20s. You. The military doctor looked up and looked at Tyr's worried look, secretly chuckling in his heart. This was her purpose, to tease Tyr and teach him a lesson about his impolite attitude. The blood energy is too strong. If you don't use it less, I'm afraid it will be bad for your health. Tyr's expression suddenly darkened and he put on his clothes. So, is there something wrong with my body? Ha ha ha, you are fine and healthy. Real? I have never seen such a healthy young man. How about? She approached Tyr's ear. Let's meet at the town hotel in the evening and I can help you put out the fire? I'm on official business, so I won't accompany you. Taylor put on his clothes and left. Just know that your body is in good health. Because many people know that Tyr is a disciple of the Warring States period. Who in the army doesn't want to curry favor with him? Who doesn't want to have a place and have power? Who doesn't want to be favored by the warring statesman himself? After waiting for Tyr to move away, the female military doctor spoke again. If your chi and blood are too strong, you may easily suffer bloody disasters, young man. At noon, a warship returned to the headquarters dockyard. The Garp dog-headed warship returned with Aokiji, but nothing was caught. Ha ha ha, Lieutenant General Garp, your grandson Luffy has become stronger again. A pink-haired boy said following behind Garp. That guy is still far away, you have to work hard. No, I still can't forget you shouting to him with a loudspeaker, I am your grandpa, Mr. Garp. Aokiji's words made Garp blush, as if he was specifically mocking him. Shut up, Aokiji, you little brat. Garp picked his nostrils and yelled in disdain. He noticed Tyr approaching and immediately asked him, Huh, Tyr, where are you going? To the Holy Land. Aokiji took off his blindfold and stood up from the lounge chair, looking at Tyr, who was sitting cross-legged by the water in the dock. He was wiping his black knife. Is General Aokiji here? Didn't you catch the pirate? 2 guys with terrifying combat power went to capture the Straw Hats and returned empty-handed. Tyr has almost gotten used to the style of these 2 people, and it doesn't matter anymore. It's all Mr. Garp's fault. He kept shouting with a microphone, I am your grandpa, so he didn't get caught. Dwang. Aokiji mocked again and was punched in the head by Garp, which made his head hurt just looking at it. Shut up, you little brat, stop learning. Hey, that's great. You can do whatever you want. Aokiji didn't hide at all and let Garp come. It didn't hurt or itch at all for him. Haha, Tyr said with a smile on his face, I have to go on a mission. Even with a day's rest, Tell couldn't take any time off, so he boarded the warship that had been waiting for him. Heading to the Holy Land, Marie Joa, Chapter 33 Promotion, Marine Headquarters Lieutenant General. The Warring States plan was proposed to the 5 elders and approved by them. A war against Whitebeard is about to begin. Marine quickly planned war preparations. On the way to the Holy Land, Malinjoa, Tyr received a piece of news that shocked him. Kizaru traveled with him as the invigilator to examine whether Tail passed the test to become a lieutenant general. In order to win the battle quickly, the moment the two arrived at the Holy Land of Marijoya, they gave the 7 warlords of the sea a super start. They had a super battle for several days and nights on the Red Earth continent, which was watched by all the Shichibukai. Until a few days later, the battle between the two continued on the Red Earth continent. The battle between two Logias is a very rare scene, haha. However, that Kizaru has been suppressed since the battle. Is this possible? Doflamingo and Blackbeard said while looking at the battle in the distance on the Red Earth continent. Are you wearing reading glasses, or are you blind? Newcomer, what did you say? Doflamingo was provoked and approached Blackbeard. If you have the nerve, try again. Ha ha ha, I just thought you were wearing myopia glasses. After a disagreement, both of them put on their fighting stances and prepared to fight. Stop, fighting is not allowed between Shichibukai. He unhooked his gloves and put them in front of him. Do you want to try the feeling of being washed? When he was about to take action, he was stopped by he. The two of them looked at the untied gloves and swallowed in fear. Ha ha ha, I was joking just now, we will be companions from now on. Hey, are you afraid of that ability? Doflamingo said to Blackbeard. How could I not know about Lieutenant General He's ability? Washing fruit. I heard it can wash away all evil. Thief haha. Blackbeard, who is familiar with the Devil Fruit illustrated book, certainly knows the power of any fruit ability. It's strange to say that a Marine who has no reputation in the world can actually suppress General Marine. Hawkeye watched the swordsmanship competition between the two and tightened his grip on Blackblade Knight. I just heard about it before, but I didn't expect that he really has such strength. That terrible conquerors. Some of the current members of the Blackbeard Pirates are people who have never seen a big scene, and their faces are full of shock and fear. But after Blackbeard betrayed Whitebeard, he immediately used the fruit power to take over Beehive Island. He fought with the old Ochaku for several days, and finally killed and captured Beehive Island. Ochaku's body was also sold to Moria by the pirates. But he still lost to Luffy. Lafitte touched the scar on the back of his head. That monster really almost killed me. Fortunately, he is a devil fruit user, thief ha ha ha. The wasteland of the Red Earth continent where Tyr and Kizaru fought. There is endless heat here. The Red Earth is full of craters caused by the battle. I have never seen anyone test a lieutenant general as soon as he comes up. Do you know what this means, Teal? Kizaru gritted his teeth to resist Teal's offensive. The black sword entangled with the sword energy made Logia tremble all over. Advertisement. It doesn't matter how Fleet Admiral arranges it, I just want to use you to improve your own strength. After fighting for several days, Kizaru's battle to test Tyr is coming to an end. The horizontal knife opened the bruised Kizaru, and Tyr's domineering energy condensed in his hand. Red sword. Boom. The crimson domineering black thunder bloomed on the Tyr blade, and the infinite sword energy released from the body turned into red. He was ending a fight that lasted for days. Wait, I admit defeat, Tyr. Kizaru felt that it was extremely difficult and did not intend to take Tyr's blow. But Tyr didn't like his usual lazy style. He raised his black knife with terrifying aura in both hands, jumped up and chopped it with his knife. No, you are a general, oh. Upon seeing this, Kizaru used the Tiankongyun sword in his hand to block in front of him. The eyes under the orange sunglasses suddenly shrank, and the facial expression was even more horrified. The script is wrong. Shouldn't I be the one to assess him? Kizaru looked at the weapons that were about to collide, and the evil smile on Tyr's face. It was as if Tyr was deliberately trying to embarrass Kizaru. Okay, Mr. General. Boom. Ah. Kizaru let out an ape-like cry and resisted tenaciously. The exploding Overlord Black Thunder was frantically threatening his Logia fruit. After fighting for several days, he had been fighting with armed color and hockey. It was hard to believe that a Logia fruit could cultivate Conqueror's hockey. Suppression. Pure suppression. From beginning to end, Teal never fell into a disadvantage. It seems that, contrary to the script he got from Sengoku, it was Tail who was assessing Kizaru for promotion. It wasn't Kizaru who was testing Tyr. Due to his domineering intimidation, Kizaru was unable to elementally avoid damage from slashing attacks. Until he ran out of strength, his legs became unstable and began to bend, and he could no longer hold on, and all the strength in his body fell apart. Boom. Tyr's sword energy penetrated his elemental body and fell into the red soil at his feet, creating a huge pit. Sizzle. The black thunder bloomed brilliantly on the holy land of Marinjoa, and Tyr looked at Kizaru lying on the ground gasping for breath. Isn't the general no longer an opponent? It seems that the single combat power of the 4 emperors is indeed superior to the general. Kizaru. Defeated. Let me go, you kid, you passed the test. Kizaru gasped in discomfort. In order to preserve his reputation as a general, Tyr reached out and helped him up. Concession, Mr. General Kizaru. Once your combat power reaches this level, you can do almost anything you want in the army. He stretched out his hand helplessly and was pulled up by Tyr and said, I haven't fought with all my strength in decades. You are a guy who is really hateful and hard to hate, and hard to beat. Advertisement. Tyr took out a flask of low-alcohol liquor, took a sip and spat on the black knife to clean the stains left by the battle. Let's go back. Returning to the holy land of Maranchoya from the Red Earth continent, the Invigilator looked shocked and took the documents, not knowing what to do. General Kizaru, how do you describe the battle situation? Qualified. His strength even puts me in a tough fight. Do you really want to write it like this? It doesn't matter, this kind of thing. Taylor walked over to the Invigilator and patted him on the shoulder with a happy face. I want to drink some wine and have a good sleep. After so many years, I can finally get promoted. The battle lasted for 5 days, and the two men excelled in both moves and swordsmanship. Kizaru was suppressed by Tyr throughout the whole process. Whether it was domineering, swordsmanship, or fruitability, he did not gain any upper hand. Of course, this battle is not a desperate battle, but a contest to test Tyr's comprehensive strength. Otherwise, the outcome of the battle will be known on the first day. The battle between the two powerful men could not last for more than a day. As long as the all-out battle lasts for 1 day, it is enough to prove the terrifying nature of the two top combat powers. You must know that during this period, you have to constantly fight with your life, which consumes a lot of physical strength, domineering power, and ability. The battle lasted for days and nights. It's simply impossible. These are also things that Teal summed up after coming to this world. After returning to the holy land of Marijoya, Tyr found a Shichibukai with bandages all over his body walking into the Shichibukai castle. Has Moonlight Moria been defeated? Congratulations on your promotion to Lieutenant General, Mr. Tell. A long-awaited soldier held a code of justice in his hands. This is a code tailor-made for you. Thank you for your hard work. Tyr took over the code of justice that only a lieutenant general deserves and did not put it on immediately. Instead, he came to the Shichibukai castle and draped himself behind him in front of 4 Shichibukai. You guys have this military rank for me, Tell said to everyone, pointing to the rank of lieutenant general on his shoulders. Do you have any problem? Ha ha ha. Congratulations to Marine on the appointment of a new lieutenant general. At the dinner table, Blackbeard ate cherry pie and clapped his hands in congratulations, not at all indifferent like the others. Lieutenant General? Moria was confused. He didn't know Tyr at all. A kid? I want to open a gourd on his head, Commander. Is that okay? Tell said, pointing at Moria. No, although he has been relieved, Tyr's attitude towards pirates has not changed. Tyr walked to his seat at the dining table and sat in front of them together with Kesha and the lieutenant generals. He picked up the food and started eating. After eating, he lay down on the chair and fell asleep directly. The experience of 5 days of fighting quickly strengthened Tyr's whole body. In the dream, he vaguely saw a terrifying creature in his body, watching everything outside like a creature lurking in his soul. Telta is asleep? Chapter 34, the Tianlong beating incident. In other words, the creature's sight was transmitted to Tyr's brain, allowing him to notice everything all the time. When the body is resting, it can also guard against all sneak attacks. After reaching the conditions with Shichibukai, they all got the benefits and left the Holy Land one after another. A few days later, Sengoku, who is planning a war against Whitebeard, has come to Marijoa several times to discuss with the 5 elders in the past few days. Until an event that shocked the world spread from the Sabodi Islands to the ears of the Warring States period. Sengoku fleed Admiral. The Straw Hats beat up the Celestial Dragons in the Sabodi Islands. What should we do? On the large round table at Marine's conference, Tyr held the barbecue and kept stuffing it into his mouth. Seeing the teacup in Sengoku's hand fall to the ground, he knew that the war on the top was very close. It's Garp's grandson again. He keeps getting into trouble again and again. What's going on with the bloodline of Garp's family? No one anywhere in the world would dare to beat up a celestial dragon. Haha, Tyr looked at the anxious warring states and laughed. According to intelligence, the officer continued, in addition to the Straw Hats, there are also the Eustace Kid pirates and the Trafalgar Law pirates involved. When Kizaru heard this, he was thinking about his responsibility while holding a teacup. Currently, Aokiji is under house arrest in Marineland for harboring pirates and is not allowed to go out. He is entirely responsible for the destruction of Judiciary Island. Akainu is on his way back from New World. The only one who can take action is Kizaru. As a marine general, he is directly under the command of the Celestial Dragons. Once the lives and safety of the Celestial Dragons are threatened, the general must go unconditionally to save face and shock the entire audience. It has been confirmed that there are a total of 13 bounty prisoners in the Sabodi Islands, and the one who harmed the Celestial Dragons is Monkey D. Luffy. It just happened to go wrong at this critical moment. Ha ha ha, after becoming a lieutenant general, Tyr had a lot of leisure every day. As long as the Warring States period was a headache, he would laugh next to him. Damn it, Tyr, can you stop laughing? I cannot hold it in. ***, Warring States walked up to Tyr angrily, grabbed his collar and lifted him up. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you are my disciple. Ah, Taylor didn't care at all and put the roast in his mouth. The sauce got onto Sengoku's face. Idiot! Warring States clenched his fists and hit Taylor several times to feel discouraged. Advertisement, Fleet Admiral, what should we do? Such an unprecedented and vicious incident, the officer asked as he watched Sengoku beating Tell. Because, there is no time for playing anymore. Just when he was worried about who to send to take care of it, Tai found that Kizaru beside him didn't respond at all. Due to injuries sustained during sparring and the fact that the 56-year-old's recovery ability was far inferior to that of Teal, he did not take the initiative to apply for an attack. No matter what happens, if the pirates attack World Noble, we can't remain indifferent, right, Mr. Sengoku? Kizaru suddenly said after taking a sip of tea. Warring States punched Tyr in the face and asked, Teal, you have just been promoted to Lieutenant General, can I trust you? Are you going to send me? Tyr was a little shocked. I have a mission, and I have to take care of the movements of Blackbeard's gang. He never thought that the Warring States period would send him there, and Tyr, who had no desire to contact the Tianlong people, wanted to forcefully refuse. It's okay, new Lieutenant General Tyr, the time has come to test you, Kizaru said again. When the time comes to summon the Shichibukai again, you can go ahead and summon Blackbeard who is in charge of you. You are just trying to catch a fish, you are a general, you should be the one to do it. Taylor, who was soaking in delicious food all day long, didn't pay attention to Shichibukai's affairs all the time. The only one he was responsible for was Blackbeard. There is also one person who has not left, and that is Moonlight Moria, who has just been defeated. During this special period, his name as Shichibukai was not erased. Instead, he was pardoned as a combat force. According to the original plot, Kizaru was the one who went to the Sabodi Islands. I was injured during the assessment, and your body has not recovered yet. Kizaru didn't buy it at all and said, you have to take responsibility. Just in time, take this opportunity to let me see your ability to do things, Taylor. Warring States also sided with Kizaru. Have I shown you enough of my ability to do things? That's combat power, not the ability to do things. Doing things and fighting can't be compared. It suddenly occurred to him to take this opportunity to let those in the world who didn't know the existence of Tyr know about the genius hidden in Marine. I don't have the ability to lead an army, Taylor declined. He doesn't know how to lead an army at all, and no one is better at fighting alone than him. It's okay, it's all tempered. Warring States' determination to send Taylor was unwavering. I still have injuries on my body. My old chest injury has relapsed and I feel stuffy, it hurts. You idiot, don't pretend to be there. Why didn't you do so much when you angered the red-haired pirates without permission? Faced with Teal's constant refusal, Warring States punched him out of the conference room. Tyr, who was in the air, did not forget to use his hands to control a few pieces on the barbecue plate to fly out with him. Afterwards, Tell had no choice but to board a warship and leave for the Sabodi Islands, the world's largest tourist attraction. Is this really good, Fleet Admiral? Kizaru said, that guy has a bad temper. If he does anything to the celestial dragons, won't everything you have done to protect him all these years be in vain? Advertisement, if he can't even pass this level, there's no need to continue training him, Warring States said coldly. World government is Marine's largest economic provider, and Marine must unconditionally obey all orders from world government. As a fleet admiral, you must put the interests of your government above all else. That's right. How many days does it take for a Kainu to return to the headquarters? Sengoku suddenly asked again. On the way back, Fleet Admiral, but the New World pirates are different after all. They did not stop because of Mr. AKA's dispatch. Tough guys. The war against Whitebeard was carefully planned. Spend a lot of time managing the military system. Before setting off to the Holy Land, he was stabbed in the back by Bartholomew Bear. With the bear's meatball fruit ability, it would be easy to kill the entire Straw Hat crew instantly. Speed also exists that surpasses many people in the world, but he let the Straw Hats go at the thriller bark. Now he still has to worry about the incident where the Tianlong people were beaten, and the mental pressure of the Warring States period is indescribable. Damn it, I'll go. Tyr tore off the roast and ate it in his mouth. The food here is top-notch in the world, and the meat he eats is pulled from Poseidon. Apparently he still wanted to enjoy life in the Holy Land. Don't cause big trouble, Tyr, just maintain the authority of the Tianlong people. In the conference room, Warring States heard Tyr's complaints and said to him again. Tyr ignored the Warring States and went directly to the River Channel coast. Tisk, I don't want to take a boat. Wow, after receiving the order, the soldiers saw that it was Tell who came out, and their morale instantly soared to an immeasurable level. His reputation in the Holy Land has been very loud these days. Who can defeat Kizaru in the assessment and be promoted to Lieutenant General at such a young age? The other elites who are the same age as Tyr are now just a group of ungerminated seeds. Mr. Tell, are you really only 18 years old? Tell climbed up the steps of the warship and was asked by an older officer, did you use some kind of disguise to hide your age? Disguise. There is indeed something like that in this world that can turn an old man's face into an extremely youthful one. No, set sail immediately, Taylor is still very serious about his tasks. Chapter 35 Sabodi Islands. Starting in the morning, we arrived at the Sabodi Islands before noon. Teacher, ha 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 ha. Thayer from the warship couldn't help but laugh when he thought about it. Of course, this is not to ridicule the warring states period, but no one can help him solve his problems, and the army is full of scammers. I heard that the Straw Hats couldn't even capture the tyrant Bartholomew Bear. Can we? The soldier stood behind Tyr and asked in salute. He now enjoys all the power and treatment that a lieutenant general has, and no one in the army says anything about it. Including the issue of Tayer's age, no one objected. It's okay, the fate of most of them will probably change. Tyr looked at the islands in the distance with countless rainbows rising into the sky. It is also a wonder attraction in the world, but how are we going to arrest them? The Tianlong people are still on the island, we can't bomb the island. There is no doubt that this was an event that made Tell famous all over the world. In the past, he followed the lieutenant generals on missions and was recorded during the battle. It's different now, he personally leads the 4 warships. His newspaper also just reported the news about Fire Fist Ace in the Sabodi Islands. Sabodi Islands. Countless pirates gathered here are fleeing to the docks and various coasts. The beatings of the Tianlong people were spread throughout the island, and no one dared to stay here. Whitebeard Squadron Captain Fist Ace is going to be publicly executed at Marine headquarters. This is a big event that shocked the world. Sword God Tyr. Who is this kid? I don't know, it says he is the newly promoted Marine Lieutenant General on this big news. Does Marine have no talent available? Let a brat serve as a Lieutenant General? Will he be able to command the troops? Doubts continued, but those who knew Tyr had begun to evacuate the Sabodi Islands. The warship is coming. A pirate shouted on the town street. Who showed up? When all the pirates want to know which general has been dispatched from the Marine headquarters. But the pirate said, it's just an unknown kid, there's no need to be afraid. Kid? Said a man wearing a furry winter hat with leopard madara dots. Na stood up and came forward with a newspaper, pointing at Taylor's photo and asking. Is it this guy? Oh, that's right, it's this brat. Marine is really incompetent. Let a brat become a general. This man is Trafalgar Law, one of the supernovas. When he heard that it was Tyr himself, the fear on his face could not be concealed for an instant. Babo, hurry and prepare the submarine to evacuate. Advertisement, yes, Captain. That guy is completely crazy about pirates, an incredible lunatic. As a cadre of the Don Quixote family, Trafalgaro was very aware of Tyr's deeds. Doflamingo also reminded repeatedly not to provoke him. Otherwise, it will affect the arms trading business of the Don Quixote family. Haha, even a little ghost Marine is afraid of you, look at how scared you are. Let's go. Go fight Marine and sink Lieutenant General Ichika, but the bounty will be greatly increased. Ha ha ha, incompetent Marine. Tui. The Celestial Dragon sent a brat after being beaten. Originally, every pirate felt that a crisis was coming to the Sabodi Islands. The moment they heard that it was a new lieutenant general, they were eager to board their own pirate ship. All headed towards the warship where Tyr was located. Of course, we are also heading towards the last journey in our lives. Lieutenant General? Haha, then there is nothing to be afraid of. Said a man with red spiky hair and black sunglasses on his head. Kid, I think we should avoid it. That Trafalgar Law fled in a hurry. As long as you are not a general, no one is scary. Kid had made up his mind with a fierce and arrogant look in his eyes. Kira, who didn't understand the logic, had no choice but to go with the base. On the west side of the Sabodi Islands, a large number of unknown pirate groups sailed out to sea to fight against Tyr. Pull the boat over. Let Marine have a taste of our power, ha 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 ha. I thought the general would come in person, but unexpectedly a young lieutenant general arrived, which shocked Lousy. Lean over and fight Marine. More than 20 ships came, partly to increase their reputation and partly to mock Marine's incompetence. To them, Tyr was just a kid sent by Marine. Please don't be angry, the new Lieutenant General Tyr. These scum are not worthy of your anger. A soldier advised behind Tyr. I'm actually being looked down upon. These pirates can't stand it, Tyr said angrily, holding the knife. It's time for them to understand what is the strength equivalent to the position. Black knife. Kid, let's retreat, Kira said with a look of horror. The pirates were at the rear of the pirate fleet. Kid looked at Tyr and stretched out his arms to the sky and realized something was wrong. But we can't escape now, let's take a look first and then talk. As Tyr activated his ability, the sea began to become turbulent. The sword energy fluid rushed out of Tyr's arm and began to quickly condense a large number of flying swords around him. What is that? There are so many swords around his body, what's going on? Fire. Sink the warship. Advertisement. Some pirates already had a bad feeling in their hearts when they looked at the sword energy around Tyr's body. Here comes the sword. The sword energy in the sky hung in the air behind Tyr like a tidal wave, covering all the pirate ships rushing towards him in the Sabodi Islands. Listen to the roar of the sword. Tyr waved his arm. The sword rain began to fly towards the pirate ship and slaughter them. The sword energy penetrated the deck, penetrated flesh, blood and bones, and penetrated all living things below the warship. There were approximately tens of thousands of condensed flying swords quickly rushing towards the pirate fleet. The originally majestic pirate fleet group was all penetrated by sword energy and sank into the sea like a flash in the pan. The smell of blood filled the air, and the intact pirate ship persisted for a few seconds before turning into a wreckage on the sea. The speed at which the pirates' lives pass is also controlled by Tyr. The shocked expressions on the faces of the sailors who came with Tyr could no longer be concealed. Rumors in the army were right in front of them, and dark flying swords were hovering above them and shooting at the pirates. This is what Lieutenant General Teal is capable of. This seems to be a walking killer. Eustace Kidd, who had no time to regret, desperately resisted Tyr's flying sword falling from the sky from behind. At this moment, he regretted it. The moment he saw the hilt of the sword piercing the deck of his ship, he felt so stupid for the first time. The celestial dragons were beaten. How could the Marine headquarters send an ordinary person here? Moreover, it was information released at the same time as the news of Firefist Ace's execution. The new Lieutenant General of Marine headquarters, Kidd, and his friends all raised their heads and watched the 1,000 sword blades rushing towards their ship like air currents. Eustace recalled the contents of the newspaper and shouted in despair. Sword God Tyr. Boom. The sword energy bombarded the last Kidd pirates like countless cannons. A ship made from dinosaur skulls. Under the Tyr offensive, the Victoria Punk did not last for 10 seconds before being completely destroyed on the sea. Going out to sea, I want to take the opportunity to defeat all the pirates in Tyr to improve his reputation. Almost all were defeated. The scene that shocked the world completely made Tyr's name public to the public. It has become a symbol of despair for pirates. Is this all over? Tyr saw that all the pirate ships were sunk, and the pirates who died immediately swam quickly to the Saboti Islands. The remaining sword energy was recycled into his body. He stood on the warship's cannon holding a black knife with a smile on his face, not caring about the Red Sea surface. The Code of Justice danced majestically in the wind behind Tyr, and the two characters, Justice, appeared in the eyes of all the soldiers behind him. The arrest operation begins. Chapter 36. The Kidd pirates are defeated. Ahem. Kidd, is it okay? Let's run. Give that B*** D our ship. Kidd, who was rescued ashore by his companions, had bloodshot eyes and looked at the approaching warships with anger and disdain. The ship was destroyed, which meant to the pirates that one of their most important partners was killed. Run away. The new monster from Marine headquarters. Sword God. This was just a casual attack from Tyr, which plunged the arrogant pirates into despair and fear. Kidd stood on the shore and used his magnet fruit ability to absorb the scrap metal around him. The scrap metal gathered into a huge mechanical arm in his hand. What are you going to do, Captain Eustace Kidd? Teal called him by his full name. Destroy our ship. Don't think you'll be better off. Kidd waved his giant mechanical fist at Tyr. Weak and ignorant, just like me back then. Tyr slashed out with his sword, and the sharp sword energy tore through the huge steel mechanical arm. It penetrates towards Kidd's right arm. Remove the magnetism quickly, Kidd, Kira shouted immediately upon seeing this. But the sword energy was too fast. In the blink of an eye, it penetrated the coastal land and penetrated the bones of Kidd's right arm. The arm was. Eustace looked at his right arm, and the feeling just gave him a chill. He found that he had lost feeling in his right arm. Then a stream of scarlet blood spurted out from the wound on his right arm. It's not broken, but it's worn out. Pay for your arrogance, Eustace Kidd. Tyr jumped off the warship. Standing on the wet grass. Kidd, Captain. Seeing this, Kira angrily opened the sickle on his wrist and rushed towards Tyr. How dare you? He jumped into the air, raised the scythe on his wrist high and slashed towards Tyr. You can't make up for the gap in strength by borrowing force. Tell didn't move. Black knife stood in front of him and stared at him. Boom. The moment the blades collided, the sickle in his hand shattered into pieces. At this moment, Kira felt desperate and powerful. The terrifying sense of oppression on Tyr's body hit him both physically and mentally. It was like all the efforts he had made since childhood were unable to defeat the swordsman in front of him. Please don't doubt the value of Marine headquarters, Taylor said coldly to them. Kira, who lost his support point, fell into the hands of Tyr, who directly aimed the black knife at his body. Sword energy impact. Phew. A white light of sword energy penetrated his chest and rushed straight into the Yulkiman mangrove tree on the island. Advertisement, aha! Kira's eyes instantly turned white and he lost all mobility. Snap. Tyr caught him falling from the air with his hands. Like an unshakable mountain approaching the injured Kidd. Stand in front of him. I heard that you would rather die than surrender no matter what you do. Kidd sat on the ground and looked up at Tyr with a look of fear on his face, his mouth trembling uncontrollably. He even doubted whether everything he saw was real. The Marines I encountered when I went out to sea were so weak that they couldn't even hit the hull with cannonballs. At this moment, he fell into true despair and looked around. A large amount of scrap copper and iron was found. Huh? Tyr noticed something strange about him and said, "It's useless, the iron will be torn into powder by my sword energy." Hit, aside. A stream of fire shot out from the mouth of a blue-haired man toward Tyr. Tyr didn't move at all after attacking like this, and Kira's body moved over. As a humanoid shield. "Wait, Kira, he's my partner." The second the flames were about to spray out on Kira, Kid rushed towards Tyr dragging his wasted arm. He found that he passed directly through Tyr's body. At this time, an idea suddenly popped into his mind. Logia devil fruit. The sword energy did not harm him, and Ty followed Marine's principle of not killing devil fruit users. Instead, they were captured and imprisoned in Impel Down City. Prevent the devil fruit from reborn and being found by a pirate to become a threat. The fire roasts human flesh, and the human body serves as a shield. Hit, a member of the base pirates, already regretted it. "Sorry, Kira, it was my negligence." He thought about it and understood that it was impossible to successfully attack a person of this level. A guy who can destroy more than 20 pirate ships in an instant. Quickly put out the fire, he will put it out. Tyr raised his black knife. The tip of the knife penetrated Kira's body from the heart. The kid pirates watched this scene happening, and the whole group stayed in place and was at a loss. Until Tyr pulled out the bloody blade, threw Kira into the sea and said, "This is not playing Pirate House, you know? In the past 4 years, Teal has paid a lot for his ignorance. The injuries on his body have become a symbol of his growth, and he will kill as many as he can. Never reason with pirates, try to enlighten them, etc. Kira. B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* rushed towards him again, they often display their powerful potential, and their devil fruit abilities will further grow. What will you do? The friend he had been with since childhood was killed in front of his eyes, and Kid's anger towards Tyr could reach the sky. Paramecia magnetic fruit's ability rages around, forming a terrifying magnetic field. Gather all the scrap metal from nearby towns and fly it towards Kid. Advertisement. When the rest of the Kid pirates saw Kid about to fight, they had no intention of leaving their friends and running away. Countless steel gathered on Kid, forming an imperfect scrap metal robot standing in front of Tyr. At a height of about 10 meters, Kid personally controlled it and looked down at Tyr angrily. No legs, just a head and 2 arms. Go to hell, Marine. 2 huge mechanical arms hit Tyr directly, which made him smile helplessly. Boom. The robotic arms clasped together and collided with Teal in the middle. Tyr's body turned into sword energy to avoid the blow, and he didn't even try to hide. After being transformed into elements, he returned to his original state and stood in front of Kid. What you did was cruel, killing ordinary civilians. After Tell told him, he quickly swung the knife at his partner. The sword energy instantly swallowed up his other companions. Kid's whole body trembled as he watched his partner who had been adventuring for many years die before his eyes. You devil. If I am a devil, then who are you? Tell's words left the desperate Kid speechless. He felt that it shouldn't be now, at least it shouldn't be now to end the adventure he should have. I am a man who wants to be one piece. All his companions were killed, which made him stop everything to crush Tyr and take revenge. An expression of despair that had never been shown before appeared on Kid's face, and Tyr looked at that expression and empathized with him. There is a difference between thieves and sailors. If you die, the troubles in the sea will be reduced a lot. Tyr held the knife and dodged in an instant, dodging Kid's mechanical arm attack. Taking advantage of the situation, he struck him with a sword attack. Shenglongjiao. The dragon head sword chi destroyed the huge skeleton machine condensed by his fruit power. Kid falls off the machine. The moment he landed on the sticky grass, his legs were so weak that he couldn't stand firmly. What did I do wrong, to let you kill my partners and brothers? He knelt on the ground and said with dull eyes, I no longer care about death or anything like that. Taylor stood in front of him and looked at him with a grin. How could you possibly know that you made a mistake? An ignorant pirate who relies on bounties to inflate his fortune. The soldiers brought Tyr the Sea Tower Stone, and Tyr personally shackled him. The devil fruit ability should be paralyzed when it touches the Sea Tower Stone. Kid was shocked when he saw Tyr's nonchalant look. Don't reduce me to you, Lieutenant General Tyr, some pirates are fleeing. Surround the port area where their ships are docked and don't let them go to sea. Yes, on the Sabodi Islands, Bartholomew Bear was secretly watching everything that happened with a book in his hand. Tyr is like a max-level boss entering the novice village. Chapter 37 3-line fruit characteristics. The purpose of surrounding the Straw Hats is to play a long game and catch the big fish. What did I do wrong? Why do you want to kill everyone? Tyr looked at Kid being taken aboard the warship and said, if I have mercy on the black pirate. I wonder how many family members will suffer, and how many parents will cry holding their dead children. When you choose to be a pirate, you must understand that this day is coming. Including his age in his previous life, Tyr is only 26 years old now, and he was already 10 years old when he traveled back in time. Being able to kill pirates without blinking an eye at the age of 26 is also related to his 4-year marine career. We should listen to you, Kira, we should retreat. Kid's eyes were filled with despair, and he looked at Kira emerging from the sea. Suddenly 3 white swords rushed out of Tyr's body. His eyes turned red and he turned on his sight. Where are the celestial dragons? Covered by Tyr's large-scale sight and sound, the flying sword flew towards the number 1 Archie mangrove. Find the Tianlong people and force them directly to the coast. What is this? Let us go, don't you want to live anymore, untouchables? The 3 of them were quickly brought to the side by Tyr using his abilities. 2 people were unconscious, and the only one who was awake was a female celestial dragon. He sat on the sticky grass and looked up at Tyr. Marine. The moment she discovered Taylor's identity as Marine, she started to vent her anger with ferocious eyes. Look at the good things you have done, Marine. The government really has a bunch of dogs that can't even catch pirates, so we, as gods, are treated like this. Shut up, woman. Woman? Shalulia Palace was stunned. She couldn't believe that Marine dared to call her a woman. You. She was about to get angry when she was interrupted by Taylor. Don't obstruct official business. How dare you say such words to me as a world noble, and have such an attitude? Realizing that the Tianlong people in front of him did not understand the situation, Tyr stopped talking. His expression turned cold, and he walked towards the town with the bread in hand. Hey, Shalulia yelled, very dissatisfied with Tyr's attitude. You be ***ch. When Shalulia was about to curse, Tyr directly pinched her mouth. Staring at her fiercely, she was so frightened that she couldn't speak. Devil. Because she saw a blue demon in Tyr's eyes. Shut up and get on the ship, I saved your life, woman. Tyr said coldly to her, then dropped his chin and shook it aside. It was the first time in her life that she was treated like this, but Shalulia was not angry at all. Advertisement, good. A novel feeling arose spontaneously in my heart, and my mouth responded naturally to Taylor. Draw out a warship and send them back to Maranjoya. What are you going to do, Lieutenant General Tell? The soldier asked. Arrest the pirates. At that moment, she forgot her identity as a celestial dragon, and she didn't realize it until she was taken aboard by the soldiers. A warship returns. She ran to the stern of the boat and held onto the railing to look at Tyr's back on the shore. I remember you. How dare you do this to me, that damn guy? Suddenly, she lowered her head and found that the surface of the sea was covered in scarlet red and the remains of pirate ships. Lord Shalulia Palace, please don't embarrass Lieutenant General Teal. A colonel said behind her. Lieutenant General Teal is still young, only 18 years old. Being a lieutenant general at the age of 18. What kind of creature was in his eyeballs just now? She shuddered, recalling the creature in Tyr's eyes. He has blue skin all over his body and is naked from the waist up. He was only wearing ragged shorts, and he was holding a knife exactly like the one on Tyr's shoulder. He looked at her with the same movements as Tail. Telta first went to the interior of the Sabodi Islands alone. Some of the pirates who were not afraid of him did not leave at all, as if they were waiting for his appearance. Did Kazaru and I switch roles? With soft bread in hand, Tyr arrived at the town of Sabodi Islands and found several familiar pirates on the street. Fortune teller, have you figured out anything? A longhand pirate, Hai Ming, Apu, sat on the roof and watched Tyr walk into the town. On a public seat in the middle of the street, a calm and reserved man placed the divination cards in front of him one by one. Mortality rate 0%, arrest rate 99%, escape rate. Magician, Basil Hawkins looked at the divination rate on the card, and his expression gradually lost its calmness. Don't forget it. The escape rate and survival rate are both 0. The mortality rate of any one of you is only a matter of my thoughts. Tyr came into view of them all, carrying a black knife and watching them. Of the 11 supernovas, only 6, weird monks, are left, 2 of whom are Luffy and Zoro from the Straw Hats. The 2 of them were not within Tyr's field of vision, but they were both capable people. The only ones left are the weird monk, magician, Hai Ming, and an undercover agent whom Tyr knows. How arrogant. Were you the one responsible for those attacks on the seaside? Hai Ming, Ah Po said to Tyr while standing on the roof of the building. Tyr didn't take them seriously at all. He ate the bread in his hand and raised his sword finger in the air. The sharp white light in his eyes floated, the sword pointed. Advertisement, sword domain. Hundreds of black swords condensed with sword energy were suspended above Tyr's head. After their weapons were dyed, they all rushed towards the location of the Straw Hat cruise ship. A sword wall was formed, trapping the Wanli Sunshine on the coast and unable to leave the port. The Straw Hats are being surrounded by marine soldiers. In this way, Taylor waved his palm and said, I can treat you with peace of mind. The 4 of them were stunned as they looked at the hundreds of sword blades flying towards the sea in the sky. Then, Tyr began to crush the 4 people. Explosions were heard in the town, and the surrounding buildings were destroyed by spinning flying swords in the air. The battle lasted less than a moment. Tyr, unscathed, crouched over one of the four. Sure enough, you people won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Ahem, my stomach. He squatted on the huge body of the strange monk Yerki and slowly pulled out the sword energy blade from his body. Luckily, this wasn't stabbed with a black knife, otherwise it would have been a big hole. The sword energy was recovered into the body by Tyr. Marine Freshman Lieutenant General, what's going on with your ability? Logia, Paramecia, with a hint of animal characteristics, are you a phantom beast? The transformation into sword energy belongs to elementalization. Controlling the sword energy to transform into a sword blade belongs to Paramecia. And Tyr had just shouldered a punch that strengthened Ulki's strength after his karma and reincarnation. When you say this, it really makes me feel a little strange. Every time I am fatally injured, the doctor says that I recover faster than others. Tyr tied them together, and Drake kept winking at Tyr the whole time. As a result, Taylor ignored him. Do you have a weakness, Freshman Marine Vice Admiral Tyr? A guy with his strength, what other weaknesses does he have? Yes. Taylor replied directly to them, of course there is. I don't even believe it. Alas, we will spend the rest of our lives in Impel Down, so it doesn't matter. Tell took out his phone and contacted the soldiers, asking them to come and arrest him. Hey, Marine, what have you done? Destroyed our house. Citizens crawled out of the rubble and yelled at Tell. Tyr covered his darkened face and did not intend to admit such a thing. He has always remained indifferent to the common people of this world. Even though he will do his best to protect them, he will never care about their other matters. Casualties are inevitable in battle. Chapter 38 Meatball Fruit Power User. I still like quick wins. The complaints from the citizens echoed in Tell's ears, which made him very unhappy. He has always been complaining about others, how could anyone dare to complain about him? He raised his black sword toward the sky, his eyes turned red, and he released a large amount of sword energy to rush towards the pirates on the Sabodi Islands. A large number of flying swords poured down on the pirates from all directions, forming a dense rain of swords, and the powerful attack covered the Sabodi Islands. Like a real new monster in the Marine headquarters, he has shown the world his power that makes pirates despair. In front of the four supernovas, Tyr's ability has exceeded their understanding. Hundreds of soldiers came to Tyr with guns in hand. Everyone looked up in shock as Tyr launched his move. Lieutenant General. Contact all Sabodi Islands military headquarters and ask them all to help capture the pirates, Tell said. Countless miserable cries were heard from other parts of the Sabodi Islands. As you command. When all the soldiers saw this battle, they immediately began to take action seriously. The pirates, who were considered black in Tyr's eyes, were all pierced by sword energy and died. Bai Zi was knocked unconscious by the sword, and it didn't matter whether he was alive or dead. The world is inherently deformed and twisted, and the decision that Tyr made was entirely based on his own heart. This all comes from Teal's own judgment. That's Bartholomew Bear, Tyr said. It looks like they are coming to rescue the Straw Hats. Where is Rayleigh? Teal's inability to capture Rayleigh's unknown made him feel a little worried. How is this going? He felt very strange. Visibility and color can detect all a person's momentum, breath, actions, and consciousness, including the next move. Rayleigh, who has strong swordsmanship, shouldn't be like this. Everyone within the range of his sight and color was invisible, but he couldn't catch Rayleigh's breath at all. As if being disturbed. Forget it, let's go over there first. Taylor understood that as long as the Straw Hats were stopped, Pluton Rayleigh would show up sooner or later. After all, he is the one who inherits Roger's will. As the deputy captain of the One Piece ship, how could he not protect the future seedlings? 4 supernovas were arrested by him and escorted to the warship by soldiers. Advertisement Tyr turned into a ball of sword energy and quickly disappeared into the town. Under the orders of the Revolutionary Army Dragon, Bartholomew Bear followed the Straw Hats to the Sabodi Islands. Now, he found an opportunity to protect this group. Yulong personally planned the island for all of them in advance so that the Straw Hats could better assist Luffy in his future journey. If you were to travel, where would you like to go? In the Argentine mangrove jungle. The Straw Hats are on the run and are intercepted by Bartholomew Bear. No, it's that monster. Zoro quickly bit the blade in his mouth. Having experienced despair just a few minutes ago, they did not dare to face the enemy in front of them carelessly. After he noticed the ripples in the air, he immediately took off his gloves and prepared to carry out the mission in advance. Luffy, we'd better leave this island as soon as possible. That young Marine has already arrived at the Sabodi Islands, Nico Robin said with the newspaper in hand. She knew about Tyr's reputation as a lunatic in the world, and didn't want her current partners to face Tyr. But, Luffy touched his fist to the ground, his rubber body squeezing like a piston. What should we do about the enemy in front of us? He entered the second gear state, and white smoke floated into the air. The sword in the sky just now looked familiar, as if I've seen it somewhere before. Zoro, you are too injured to fight anymore. Chopper said while holding Zoro's legs. If he didn't fight in the current situation, Zoro knew he would be dead. Bartholomew Bear noticed that the sword energy in the air was scattered, and when it quickly condensed into a human form, he disappeared in an instant and transferred the Straw Hats. Bartholomew Bear. Tyr's voice rang in the air. Why are you so eager to move them? Waiting for Tail to arrive, everyone except the 3 members of the Straw Hats were shot away. Marine and I have nothing to say. Whoa, Nami, Robin, Chopper, Usopp, Brook. Where have you been? Luffy cried when he saw his disappearing companions. He thought that all his friends had been killed by the Shichibukai in front of him. The current Straw Hats face Bartholomew Bear, and they are not at the same level in terms of strength. They couldn't even see how fast Bartholomew Bear was swatting away its companion. Tail was about 20 meters away from them, looking at the frustrated Straw Hat Luffy, and the vigilant Sanji and Zoro on his left and right. Now he has a bounty of 300 million belly, of which 200 million was increased due to the riot on Judiciary Island. Judiciary Island is one of the 3 major agencies under the government, and Teal has been joining Marine for 4 years. Advertisement. I know a lot of corruption inside the military, but there are always some shameful things happening on the surface of prosperity. You are the sailor who dined at Barati's 2 months ago. Stinky Cook, be careful, he is the Marine Headquarters Lieutenant General. Luffy was dejected after losing his partner, and his left and right hands were still focused on watching every move of Bartholomew Bear and Tail. Take action? Or retreat? Tyr was struggling in his heart at the moment. As the Lieutenant General who was sent to maintain the authority of the Tianlong people this time, he had no reason to retreat. Of course, Tyr will never be a loyal dog under the command of the Celestial Dragons. He will only look at everything in his own way. Whether it's good or bad. The bloody lessons he learned over the years also allowed Tyr to see through the true nature of pirates, but he still felt hesitant about this group of people. Tail ran towards the Straw Hats very quickly, shaking hands with the black knife floating behind him. It's coming. Damn it. It's really the enemy. Zoro held a knife in each hand and got into a fighting stance. Jet machine gun. Luffy sensed Tail's hostility and punched out his fists continuously at an extremely fast speed. Under the influence of Gear 2, his fists are so fast that they can be dazzling. In Tyr's eyes, it was very slow. Bartholomew Bear on the side also activated the fruit ability and disappeared silently. Let me see the true nature of you again, even though Judiciary Island has now sunk into the sea because of you. Tail moved and swung his body to dodge all of Luffy's jet and machine guns. The jet machine gun can't even hit it. Luffy's shocked expression appeared on his face. A sense of absolute disparity with Tyr's strength emerged. It was only after he went to sea that he realized that there were invincible opponents in the world. Just when Ty was about to subdue Luffy, a voice sounded next to him. They are the target of my mission. Bartholomew Bear instantly appeared in front of Tyr and swung out its bare paws with meatballs. Haha, Tyr smiled, having already expected such a result. He also slashed at the bear's hand without mercy. The blade struck the soft ball of flesh, making Tail instantly surprised. The moment the power in his hand touched his palm, all was forcibly absorbed into Bartholomew Bear's palm. Bear Paw Reflex. Tyr's slashing power was converted into his attack method by Bartholomew Bear's Devil Fruit ability. Boom. A strong impact in his palm instantly overwhelmed Tyr. But at that moment, the elemental sword energy all over Tyr's body expanded wildly around him. It's useless. Your ability can't pose a threat to me, Tyr. Bartholomew Bear remained calm when seeing such a huge sword energy, and he took off his second glove. Chapter 39. An irreversible slash. The violently expanding sword energy split into 3 sword blades and quickly rushed towards the last 3 members of the Straw Hats. Ghost Slayer. Seeing this, Zoro quickly drew his sword and slashed at Tyr. The sword suddenly appeared and the two clashed. This power. Zoro was shocked. He couldn't believe that Tyr's power couldn't even compete with Demon Slayer. The moment 3rd generation Kitetsu, Wado Ichimonji and the sword blade collided, Zoro's entire arm swelled to the limit. Even with all his muscle strength on display, he was unable to withstand Tyr's moves. The moment Zoro swung his move, he was immediately knocked away by Tyr's sword aura clone. Wow! Zoro quickly flew into the air, and 3rd generation Kitetsu and Wado Ichimonji almost missed. Luffy and Sanji were directly penetrated by the sword clone's body with a sword, and disappeared behind them while waving the sword. The internal organs were. Sanji, who had been stabbed, bit the cigarette butt in his mouth and knelt on the ground with his eyes turning white. Luffy, on the other hand, was knocked back to normal by one blow from Tail's move, lying on the ground in disbelief. Zoro, Sanji. He grabbed the grass on the ground with his palms and tried his best to get up. But he found that all the strength in his body had been deprived of him by Tyr's blow just now. It's useless? Because of your status as Shichibukai, I am fighting you with a playful attitude. Bartholomew Bear ignored Tyr, aimed 2 palms at the elemental Tyr and started to activate the fruit ability. The palm is connected to the air, and a huge white gas bear paw is gathered in his hand. Immediately, the air begins to compress. The surrounding air was compressed crazily by him, including Tyr's sword energy. Charged. Sensing something bad, Tyr unleashed explosive conquerors. Boom. The red barrier spread instantly, forcibly interrupting Bartholomew Bear's ability release. Tyr was freed from the pressure of his fleshball fruit ability. I have to say, Taylor pointed the knife at him, it is a perverted ability. Don't hinder me from carrying out my mission, Marine Lieutenant General Tyr. Bartholomew Bear instantly appeared 1 meter in front of Tyr and said. With a speed comparable to the speed of light, he swung his palm towards Tyr's chest. Boom. The impact penetrated Tyr's body, forming a large transparent hole in his chest. You are hindering me from carrying out my mission, right? Tyr smiled at him. His knowledge cannot predict the future, but it is still very powerful. Advertisement. It's not like this attack can be predicted. The speed of Bartholomew Bear is also far beyond Tyr's imagination. He can really teleport silently. I don't have much time. What does it have to do with me? Blessed with domineering energy in the palm of his hand, the impact of Bartholomew Bear can touch Tyr's body and knock him flying to the trunk of the Arcumen mangrove tree 100 meters away. Boom. Tyr's body hit a tall Ardman tree. Zoro? Sanji? No. In the center of the explosion, Taylor walked out of the smoke unscathed. What a terrifying ability, Tyr said. Huh. As soon as he came out, Tyr saw the bear instantly slap away the last member of the Straw Hat Pirates. Then, he put on his gloves and looked at Tyr with an unchanged expression. Mission accomplished. Forget it, we still have Impel Down City, Tell said, spreading his hands. Since the matter on Judiciary Island was forcibly suppressed by Sengoku and it means that they are also giving Garp face. Naturally, Teal continued to give Garp face, because he wanted to observe whether the movements of this group were worthy of continuing the main storyline of Straw Hat Boy. If there is no change, then the protagonist will need to be replaced. The war on top is coming soon. If he fights Pluton Rayleigh here, it may affect his performance on the battlefield. That was a live broadcast around the world, and Tyr wanted to fight with all his strength to let the world know about him. Thinking about it, Tyr quickly rushed towards Bartholomew Bear with a knife like a fierce dragon head. The domineering blade of the blade in his hand quickly formed the shape of a huge dragon's head, impacting the dirt ground in front of Tyr. Bartholomew Bear was also shocked when he saw this, clearly thinking that Tyr would not take action again. But this sudden murderous intent forced him to use the meatball fruit again. Your ability can absorb all damage? Taylor approached him and slashed out with all his strength. Bang! The impact of ripples and explosions spread around instantly, the moment the blade fell into the power of the meatball fruit. Meatball Man, I often heard from teachers that he has the ability to bounce away from everything. Tyr felt a powerful absorption force, sucking away the power from his sword. Bear Paw. Bartholomew Bear was about to hit Tyr away again. Magnificent domineering energy surged crazily from the tip of Tyr's black sword. Advertisement, what are you doing? It's obvious that there is no need to fight anymore, Bartholomew Bear said calmly. I don't believe you have the power to deflect everything. Tyr even broke the rules of the world where devil fruits are in water. Do we still believe that Paramecia Meatball Fruit's ability can deflect all attacks? At the same time, he also returned the blow he took just now to Bartholomew Bear. Dragon kill. Tyr suddenly shouted with a ferocious expression. The domineering flowing cherry blossoms are in full bloom in the nearby area like gorgeous petals. He held a knife and transformed into a raptor looking down at Bartholomew Bear. The touch on the palm of his hand changed from nothing to something, and the fleshball fruit's ability quickly absorbed Tyr's power until he felt pressure and pain in his palm. This made him horrified. Since eating this fruit, almost no one has allowed him to absorb it to the limit. Now, for the first time, it's broken. Ah! His expression could no longer be calm, and the huge body of about 7 meters was carried away by Tyr's knife. Look, no matter what ability you have, there are limits. As long as you exert a little force, your ability will not be able to deflect my moves. Bartholomew Bear in the air aimed the palm that absorbed Tyr's power at the sky. Phew! A burst of impact light rushed from his hand to the clouds, allowing him to relieve all pressure from his palm. Tyr's huge power produced a terrible explosion in the clouds, and his domineering energy turned into flowing cherry blossoms and fell into other cities in the Sabodi Islands. The Bartholomew Bear fell from the sky and knelt on the grass. He opened his mouth and gasped violently, as if he had spent a lot of energy. It was also at this moment that I understood how terrifying the new force of the Marine headquarters in front of me was. What's going on? Telephone walked up to him with a knife. Robots can't breathe heavily, can they? I don't want to be your enemy, Tyr. My body has not been completely transformed into a machine. Go away. Taylor squeezed his hand into the air in front of him. Withdrawing all the sword energy covering the Straw Hats, they walked away towards the town. High above the nearby archipelago jungle, Pluton Rayleigh watched it all unfold. What's up with that conquerors? He felt a little strange about Tyr's conquerors. When Conquerors is released, it usually acts as a range-wide deterrent, and the weak will faint directly. Tyr's Conquerors is indeed a large explosion at close range, which can shatter all objects and buildings within the range into pieces. At critical moments, it can also be used as a ship's red barrier to resist attacks. Interesting discovery. Chapter 40 Coder Lao Lei. The town is full of Marines catching pirates, and the citizens are hiding in their homes to observe all this. Taylor was walking alone on the town street when he suddenly stopped and looked outside a restaurant. A Poseidon-like specialty hotel? Taylor looked at the words on the sign and smiled evilly. Hey, take a look. As a cook, he remains passionate about food. Of course, my personality has also changed a lot since I traveled through time. As an 18-year-old boy who loves to look at beautiful women, he has suffered from sudden illness in the past. Now completely restrained, because he has seen too many beauties at Marine headquarters. When I followed Guillaume on the mission of flower-picking thief, I also fell into the beauties of the flower street all day long, waiting for the pirates to take the bait. Therefore, he has already restrained himself. For the current Tyr, women are just tools for mutual use to satisfy their own physical desires. Tiffany was the first woman he came to this world, but she was severely hid by reality. It's as if it really echoes the saying, there is no love in the pirate world. If you don't open your mind, your life in such a chaotic world will only get worse and worse. Boss. Boom. Teal entered the hotel, took out a bag of Baileys and knocked it on the table. Exist, all the delicious food will be served. Yes. The boss was frightened by Tyr's cooking style and immediately ordered his workers to start cooking. As for where the Bailey on him came from, it was naturally taken away from the public funds of the Warring States period. Telko will not be polite to anyone at all. It's not like fishing. Tyr began to think about his mission. I caught 5 supernovae. The 5 supernovas captured by Tyr are Eustace Kidd, or G, Apu, Drake, and Hawkins. However, he forgot about Sword Team Drake. I don't know that he is Marine's undercover agent living in seclusion in the pirate camp. Evening. The rays of sunlight shone on the side of Tyr's face by the hotel window, and his playful and handsome profile made the young general who came to report the news blush with embarrassment. Lieutenant General Teal. As Tyr's personal subordinate, her name is Chisha. Wait. There's another piece of meat. Taylor picked up the last piece of meat and stuffed it into his greasy mouth. Oh. She looked at the surrounding buildings and the angry citizens. The buildings in a line seemed to have been cut off by something. Advertisement. Why are the citizens so angry? Of course I'll be angry if I chop down their house. Tyr looked at Shogwang with some reluctance. Are you still bound by military orders after all? But it's okay, if you don't have restraints, you might really turn into a monster. After eating the last piece of barbecue, Tyr stood up and left the restaurant. What's wrong? All the pirates on the island have been arrested. Thank you, please leave me alone for now. At this time, Tyr wanted to fight Rayleigh. If he told Warring States the news, he would definitely tell Tyr not to provoke him at this time. So, try not to cause trouble as much as possible. Where are you going, Lieutenant General? Shisha said as she looked at Tyr, who was walking towards the depths of the Sabodi Islands. Go to the lake. Taylor waved his arms away from her. I'll leave the matters on the warship to you. Yes. Entering the Arcumen mangrove forest, Tell came to a crystal clear lake. Too many people have been killed, so I have to be left alone for a while. His eyes suddenly became very cold-blooded. Everything that happened today made Tyr fall into his own mood. Taylor took off his shirt and walked shirtless into the shallow water of the lake with a black knife. He sat with his legs crossed by the clear lake, holding his black knife and meditating with his eyes closed. The red light of sunset disappears, and the bright moon rises from the lake. Tyr in the lakeside has 9 sword blades behind him. 9 swords floated in a fan shape behind Tyr, and all the blades were red. It is different from ordinary releases. Each sword blade has its own unique pattern, with its own markings from number 1 to number 9. It's one of his self-created moves. Each of these swords serves as Tyr's body protecting sword energy, and now it has become substantial. In other words, they are only hidden around Tyr's body and are not summoned randomly by him every time. Each handle has the quality of a supreme sharp knife, and can also be used by Tyr when he has no weapons. Although I understand black and white, am I too allowing them to do whatever they want? Taylor recalled letting the Straw Hats go during the day. At least, most of them now looked white to Tyr. But the act of burying an entire island for the sake of his friends caused Ty's favor with Luffy to plummet. If he wasn't a sailor, he might be able to accept risking everything for the sake of bondage. But now that he has been directly promoted to Lieutenant General, the way he looks at things needs to change. Tyr suspended the black knife on the lake in front of him. Advertisement. The sword energy lingered on the black sword, exuding a sword sound that relaxed Ty's body and mind. The sound of the sword creates waves on the lake surface that spread to other places on the lake surface. Round and round. Let's take another look, observe Luffy's movements one last time, and decide my opinion on all pirates. Tyr expected the Straw Hats to be different from other pirates out of respect for the impression he had on them. When he looked at himself on the clear lakeside, he had a completely different look. He looks like a phantom beast and a demon. The pure heart sword Mings. Tyr frowned and looked at him, then gently flicked the black knife. Jingle, the soothing melody spread from the lakeside to the center of the lake, and the phantom beasts reflected in the water disappeared. Tyr's original appearance is reflected. Madara's playful and handsome face is full of T***s, but it still can't hide his handsomeness. Phew, not only does my pockmark not make me ugly, it also makes me look handsome when you appreciate it. Tyr spent the whole night meditating in the lake, just to suppress the cold blood in his heart. Early the next morning, he woke up with an unprecedented sense of relief. Before returning to the flight, let's go to that bar. Tyr picked up the knife, put on his clothes and a coat of justice and left. He himself didn't know what the Phantom Beast demon was, so he could only identify it as his own ability. At least what is certain is that every move of the Phantom Beast demon is exactly the same as Tyr. No self-awareness. Slowly walking through the Yarchman mangroves, Tyr came to Area G13 of the Sabodi Islands. Lawless Zone. Is this right here? Taylor looked at the bar on the hill and walked up. Push gate of opening. Welcome light. The moment the boss saw Teal, he paused and reached into the front desk. It's a rare visitor. Marine usually doesn't come here, a silver-haired old man said with a smile while holding a drink. Silbaz Rayleigh. Taylor discovered that there was a fishman octopus and a mermaid girl in the bar this early in the morning. I don't use that name a long time ago, it would be better if you call me Laule, the coder. Marine. The fishman naturally became scared when he saw Marine. This does not surprise Tyr, fishmen have always been like this. A clan of thieves. But he is extremely disgusted with Marine. Chapter 41 on the eve of the war. Tyr walked over to where Rayleigh was sitting and placed several Baileys on the front desk. A cocktail, thank you. After discovering Shachi's behavior, Tyr did not panic. Now, he cannot be said to be invincible in this world, but no one can absolutely suppress him. What will the new Lieutenant Marine do in this tavern? Aren't you afraid of violating military regulations? Rayleigh asked. I don't understand why Marine doesn't dare to come and catch you after you've been lurking here for so many years. Shachi placed the cocktail in front of Taylor. He picked it up and watched Rayleigh start to drink. Spare me, I'm just a gray-haired old man now, Marine isn't that petty, right? Speaking of which, Tyr looked at Shachi coldly. Doesn't it make people think that there is something wrong with being the Emperor of the Daughter Kingdom and hanging out with Vice Captain Roger of One Piece? It's funny, haha, I deliberately planned to lure you out, Tyr continued to Rayleigh, and then kill and bring you back to the headquarters. This really surprised Rayleigh. He has been staying in the Sabodi Islands since middle age, and he has never seen any Marine dare to catch him. The kid next to me dared to say such words. Is this a provocation? Rayleigh's words suddenly became less kind. A strong momentum poured out of his body. Is this a plan to fight? Facing an openly provocative Marine, as a deputy king with a reputation in the world, it is impossible to be friendly with him, right? The strong momentum showed off, causing Ty to drink the cocktail in his hand and put a few coins at the front desk. Are there rice cake slices? Taylor asked Shachi while looking at Rayleigh. Are you here to fight, or are you here as a guest? Tyr's provocative words made Shachi no longer receive him. Is this what Pluton's momentum is? Tyr observed Rayleigh's aura with a smile on his face, which was very vigorous. He is worthy of the man called Pluton. Of course I'm a breakfast guest. I have retired now, and I would like to ask Marine not to disturb an old man's retired life. I've always heard that the title Pluton comes from the fact that anyone who challenges you is sent to the underworld as a one-way ticket. That was just over 20 years ago, Rayleigh laughed. Facing a person of Rayleigh's level, Tyr was not afraid at all. These older guys are no longer as strong as they were at their peak. Regardless of physical functions, physical skills, and swordsmanship, they are no longer what they used to be. Of course, it's not just him, it includes the big shots of the old era. No matter how powerful he is at his peak, he cannot withstand the negative effects of aging. Advertisement, but one thing has not weakened, and that is the domineering momentum all over his body. Everyone has. Just like the reason why Teal is giving Garp face now is entirely because he doesn't want to be punched by him with all his strength. Even with his current strength, if he were punched with all his strength by Garp, he would be seriously injured and extremely uncomfortable in an instant. Why hasn't my meal come yet? I paid for it, Tyr yelled at Shachi. If he can't eat, Tyr may get angry and make a fuss. He never wanted to experience being hungry again. Haha, okay, wait a moment. After a short analysis, Teal still felt that it was unreasonable to fight Rayleigh at the moment. After breakfast, the Bailey in his pocket was completely gone. I'll do it again, Rayleigh. After leaving a meaningful word, he left Shachi's bar. There is a secret relationship between Kuji Island and the Roger Pirates. Returning to the coast where the warship was located, he had been thinking about this issue. Lieutenant Admiral. The preparations for Fire Fist Ace have been completed. Sengoku Fleet Admiral has asked you to summon Shichibukai. New. After boarding the warship and setting sail, the first thing Tyr did was to send several supernovae back to the Great Prison under the sea in Imperial. All 5 supernovae were imprisoned in the 6th level of Eternal Hell. A few days later, in order to fight against the Whitebeard pirates, a large number of elite sailors from all over the world were summoned to Marinefondo. As the 4 emperors, Whitebeard could not leave Roger's only heir alone. What's more, Ace is still his godson now. Whitebeard sent people to find Morgans to announce the news and declare war at Marine headquarters. The main purpose is to save Fire Fist Ace. The news shocked the world. At the same time, he also fell into the plan of the Warring States period. Marine headquarters. In the majestic Marine headquarters building. Garp is complaining to Sengoku about this plan of action. Do you really have to go to this point, Warring States? I can't accept it. After summoning Blackbeard's gang to Marineland, many high-level officials gathered in the Fleet Admiral office. But Tyr was not among them. He was too young and was considered unfit to participate in military politics by the Warring States period. Absolutely not this time, Garp. You should know best how many innocent women we killed for him back then. Advertisement: there are still 2 days until the war on the top. The waters of Marinefondo are unusually calm. Tell was sitting on the balcony outside Fleet Admiral, waiting for all orders to be issued. After the incident on the Saboti Islands, he also succeeded in showing his prominence in the world and establishing a terrible deterrent. Outside the house, Teal saw Garp coming out of Sengoku's office with an angry face and almost broke the door. I can't accept it, Warring States. Garp, where are you going? Why don't you go teach recruit? He suddenly stopped after spotting Tyr. Teal and I take some time to relax. I have something to ask you. Oh. Taylor agreed. Whitebeard declared war on our marine yesterday. He will definitely come to save Fire Fist Ace. You are one of the main ones responsible. Sengoku's voice came from inside the house, and Garp lost his temper and ignored him. The office, which was once a place of harmony and happiness, has now become so depressing, Tyr thought as he looked at Garp. At this moment, Sengoku has learned that it was Garp who saved Ace. Knowing that Ace is the pirate who grew up under his own protection, for the agreement between Roger and Roger. The babies that were removed before consuming a lot of resources and troops were actually sheltered by their closest comrades for 20 years. The red-haired pirates will come. The rocks in the air in front of Tyr had been tortured to the point of being transformed into a human being. The pirate who was arrogant and domineering at the beginning has been completely reduced to a beggar after these days of torture. He was dirty and looked extremely embarrassed. The arrogance he had before was long gone. Let me go. Have you had enough fun? Rox said in embarrassment. Aren't you dead yet? When the time comes, Rox Dacko is what Teal will use to P***s off Shanks. He could already imagine the scene of personally killing Rox in front of Shanks, making Shanks angry. But what happened next caused a huge change in Tyr's mentality towards the world and even his nature. You devil. I will freeze to death. It's all death anyway. You might as well experience the last feeling in life. Controlling Roxta to fly above the clouds, Tyr followed Garp to the recruit military training camp in Marinefondo. On the way, he watched the huge number of warships on the dense ocean heading towards Marineland. All the elite soldiers in the world gathered in Marinefondo. All family members of soldiers living in Marineland were moved to safe places. He understood that this place was about to become the main battlefield in the top war. The Whitebeard pirates, currently the strongest group in the world, are directly at war with the Marine headquarters. Chapter 42. I'm tired of being worldly and so on, shortly after going to sea with the Garp warship. The two arrived at a small island with a marine building. Arriving at the training camp, Teal found many unfamiliar faces here. The school is called Sword Team. Haha, Tyr, I heard about the Saboti Islands. You did a good job. Garp's temperament changed drastically. That's it. I heard that you arrested Drake too. He is the captain of the Sword Team. I didn't know. I didn't expect you to serve as one of the instructors of this team. The Sword Team was a team that Teal didn't know at all, and had never even been here for so many years. There are still many things you don't know. Garp opened the door and looked back at Tel. Now that you are also a lieutenant general, you will also cultivate marine talents in the future. Let me bring you to experience this kind of life. This is your mission, Lieutenant General Garp. Why did you ask me to come here? Garp accidentally discovered that after returning from the Saboti Islands, Tyr's eyes had become deep, as if he could see into other people's hearts. I heard that you took action against Luffy. Yes, but the damage was transferred by Bartholomew Bear. Since Garp asked, Teal reported the truth to him. Is he okay? Garp asked again. If you want to ask these questions, Lieutenant General Garp, it's better for us to talk less. I have respected you enough over the years. Even if he killed Luffy in the mission, Tail would not give Garp face again and again. A marine always indulges pirates. Such views are completely inconsistent with Tyr's heart. As a result, he is now a little impatient with the pirate's temper. Ha ha ha. What are you talking about? Come in and see Marine's future. Lieutenant General Garp, you are always talking about Marine's future. Please stop favoring pirates. Marine's internal affairs are about to change because of you. After learning that Luffy was rescued by Bartholomew Bear, Garp's worries were relieved. You are also Marine Mirai. Garp, who did not respond directly to Teal's words, said something that he could not refute. Garp opened the door to the training camp and walked in, leading Tail to learn about all the characters in the sword team. Almost all are official second generation, third generation. New World. An island with the flag of the red-haired pirates flying high in the center of the town. The still repaired Red Fourth was parked on the coast, and Shanks had just finished paying homage to his companions. The moment Garbu's lifeguard disappeared, he knew that Tell had killed his partner. Advertisement: there are several wooden barrels placed on the coast, and all members of the red-haired pirate group are discussing plans. Beckman, who was in charge of the brain, inserted the dagger into Teal's full body photo and said seriously. There are two battle plans now, Captain. One is to abandon the collapse of the world's power balance and go to avenge Garbu and Rocks. Taking into account the overall situation of the world, Shanks continued to ask seriously. What about the second one? Teal's full body photo was moved aside, and Beckman took out Kaido's bounty order and started talking seriously. If Whitebeard has brought all his combat power to fight Marine, Kaido of the Beasts will never pass up this opportunity to plunder the territory. Such news surprised Shanks. He took a sip of wine and continued to ask. You mean he's going to use this to expand? Yes, we now have a third option, which is to temporarily give up revenge on that kid, stop Kaido of the Beasts, and at the same time strengthen the power of New World. No one treats Tyr as the little brat he used to be. The red-haired pirates will try their best to eliminate the guy whose life is involved in his comrade's life next time. Shanks held the bottle and fell into silence. His partner always came first. Now the world's overall view is about to collapse, and 4 emperors will usher in the first wave of reshuffles. 100 Beasts Kaido, if he is not prevented from expanding his power, New World may become his arms and weapons business in the future. Have you decided? First stop Kaido of the Beasts from occupying Whitebeard's territory, and then go to Marinevando to save Whitebeard. The power of the 4 emperors cannot collapse, otherwise the 3 major powers will continue to climb up. That means that the battles between the strong will continue and the world war will become more intense. There is no benefit to him, to Kaido, to Charlotte Linlin, to Marine, or to any force in the world. Marine Headquarters Sword Team Training Camp. A graceful woman walked towards Tell holding a whip. He was tall, with a charming expression on his face. He walked toward Tell and asked with interest. Are you the sword god Tyr from the marine nearest to the ship? The sword team venue is filled with the cheerful atmosphere of children, and children under the age of 10 are receiving a unique education here. This made Tyr wonder if the elderly Garp liked imps very much. He asked Garp. Were you hanging out on this island when you disappeared in Linfondo? Of course. I'm busy training Marine's future. Apart from following Garp on several sea missions, he often went to the East China Sea for vacations. It's almost unclear where he went. It turns out that there is also such a team in Marine that Teal doesn't know about, and Garp serves as the commander and instructor of this team. Advertisement: the boys and girls here have no rules at all, but they are all wearing Marine uniforms. The woman walked up to Tyr and looked at Teal's body carefully. Not bad, handsome man. Peacock, pay attention, this guy is now a lieutenant general. Lieutenant general? Him? That's right, the person in front of Tyr is the granddaughter of Lieutenant General He, Marine's chief staff officer. So, why did you bring me to a place where a bunch of kids are? Actually, it's nothing. Garp picked his nose. I just wanted to ask about Luffy. If I say I killed him, will you beat me up here? If it is true, I might not be able to help but kill you, Tyr. Taylor frowned. At this moment, all his good feelings towards Garp disappeared, even though he had received his favor and care. If a guy wants to kill him in front of his face, Tyr will never have any friendship with him again. I also understand the importance Garp places on his family. It's not my fault that I didn't take care of my family, Mr. Garp. Taylor's tone lost respect. I've been kind enough to him. With that said, Tyr summoned a sword blade and walked up. I understand your determination to protect your family, Mr. Garp. Hey, I'm just talking. Where are you going? Tyr sat cross-legged on top of his flying sword, floating in the air and staring at Garp expressionlessly. So far, there have been problems with their group's movements. I still want to spare them for your sake. It's just a word. Tell, come down, I will also introduce you to my disciples. But if they do something inhumane, I will definitely kill them without hesitation. After Tyr said that Garp wanted to kill him just now, he no longer concealed his views on pirates. And no longer gave Garp any face. Seeing Teal's sudden change of attitude, Garp realized that he had said the wrong thing. Not long after he arrived at the Sword Secret Force, he left here because of just one sentence. I don't want to stay any longer. He is such an incomprehensible guy. Is it so difficult to be reasonable? What's wrong with him, Lieutenant General Garp? Nothing. Where are the Kirbys? Taylor has long been tired of worldly things. Such things will only limit the actions he wants to take. Chapter 43 Impel City was invaded on the cloud. Warring states received the news that the Tianlong people wanted Tyr. I immediately called Taylor and asked what happened. What did you do to the Tianlong people in the Saboti Islands? Saved their lives. What's wrong, teacher? Shalulia Palace wants you to go to the Holy Land to meet her in person. This news was indeed beyond Teal's expectation. Could it be that just because he saved her life and glared at her, he was going to resort to capital punishment? Are you going to judge me? It's not like that. This is more like a request from the Tianlong people. Warring states continued. How about you go there? The celestial dragons have always been puzzling creatures, and they can fall out of favor faster than turning the pages of a book. However, Warring States was not worried about Tyr's safety. But I still have to take care of the tasks of Blackbeard's gang, Tell said. It's okay. He has now agreed to cooperate with us against Whitebeard, and he will probably not do anything. Since you said so, teacher, then I'll go there. Is it a timeline correction? Taylor didn't understand. The flight direction had to be shifted to the Red Earth continent. Tyr's flying speed is 3 times that of a warship sailing at full speed, which means that it only takes 1 day for him to reach the 3-day journey. About an hour later, Tyr came to the Holy Land Mary Joa from the clouds, and was taken by the guards to the residence of the Roswald family. Surrounded by impressive fountains and lakes, it is luxurious and elegant. There is an angel statue carved in the middle of the fountain. The angel holds blood and splashes crystal clear water in all directions. We are here, please come in. You? The dignified celestial dragon guard actually addressed Tyr as you, which made him very strange and surprised. The sun shines through and casts Madara's dappled light and shadow on the winding stone paths. Passing through this luxurious garden, Tyr came to a huge Draco castle. He found Shalulia Palace in a spacesuit looking down at him outside the gate of his mansion. Vice Admiral Marine. We haven't seen each other for a long time. I can't forget the evil you did to me a few days ago. Alas. Tyr sighed, really not knowing where to offend this bodhisattva. It obviously saved her life. How dare you sigh in my sacred garden? Don't pollute my flowers with your lowly body odor. Well, just show her some respect. Look what he wants to do. I wonder why the noble Shalulia Palace called me here? Oh, you are quite good at speaking human language, Lieutenant General Marine. Why did you dare to treat me like a god in the Saboti Islands that day? She asked Tyr. Advertisement, I was on official duty to capture pirates, and you were acting up after I rescued you. I had to shut you up to do that. Is this the reason you found for insulting me as a god? Tyr had a headache with such a condescending and ignorant guy. You can neither attack them nor disrespect them. What reason can you find to escape? His eyes turned red, and Tyr's face darkened immediately after sensing this luxurious mansion. A woman actually owns such a huge and luxurious house by herself? And a fairyland-like garden, too luxurious. Seeing Tyr looking around, Shalulia said impatiently. Hey, what are you observing? I'm asking you something. You called me here, what on earth are you going to do? In order to make you, a guy who doesn't respect me, receive the punishment he deserves. That's outrageous. I saved your life, but I have to be punished? She has a pampered body and has never been scolded by anyone other than the celestial dragons, but she still pinches her lips and scolds him angrily. Follow me, you pariah. Although she was noble on the surface, she could not let go of her dignity, and brought Tyr into the castle with her arrogant words. This kind of solitude gave Tyr the opportunity to kill him, and then deal with the guards outside who knew he was there. It is very easy to make a celestial dragon disappear silently. It wasn't until they entered the castle that Shalulia's performance opened Ty's eyes. She actually brought Tyr directly into her gorgeous bedroom. In front of Teal, he took off his spacesuit and put on a set of clothes that were elegant, sexy and unique. Teal. Sick. This kind of woman would have been seriously ill in the previous world. Come here and I will allow you to do that to me, pariah. If this were on the sea, such open-minded women would be common, but this guy in front of me is a celestial dragon. Tyr really didn't understand at this moment why she was like this. She made a gesture of disgust and stretched out her slender fingers to let Tyr go over to her. I have sealed my heart, and I will not accompany you. Then I will dig out your heart, then kill you. I believe that with my power as a celestial dragon, Marine will not dare to do anything even after killing you. She stretched out her slender palms and threatened Tyr without even looking at him. Tyr turned around and prepared to leave, taking a deep breath, as a man placed in front of him the male and female prey that challenged him. It would be a shame for a man not to F*K her. Taylor threw her onto the soft bed, which made Shalulia stagnate. His breathing became rapid, and his face was full of shyness, but he did not lose the innate arrogance of the Tianlong people. Woman. You are dead. Advertisement. What can a lowly pariah in Marine do? Don't laugh to death. 2 days later, Luffy, who was shot away by Bartholomew Bear, won the heart of the pirate empress on Nine Snake Island. After learning about Ace's execution, he asked the Empress as Shichibukai to take him into Impelled Down. The condition is that the Pirate Queen attends the war and joins the war. Bulu Bulu, Taylor was woken up from a soft and luxurious bed by a phone bug. In order to teach Shalulia a lesson, he displayed his wild and unruly strength for 2 days. The sound of the phone bug made him fumble around on the soft bed, and accidentally touched a softer and fleshier spherical object. A numb and soft sound came from under the quilt. Shalulia Palace poked out the face of the girl who had long lost her pride, looked at Tyr and said, "What do you do, honey? The teacher's phone is ringing, I have to go." "Don't go, stay in Mariahioa, I'll take care of you." These words made Tyr suddenly look at her seriously. "Do I need you to support me?" In Shalulia's eyes, Tyr at this moment was a domineering man full of infinite charm. She was completely devastated. For Tyr, there is no feeling at all, it is just a tool to release the beast in his heart. She stared at Tyr with her big, tender eyes. No matter what Tyr did at this moment, she would never forget it. Tell found his coat, took out his phone and answered the call. "What is it, Sengoku Fleet Admiral? Telephone, are you okay?" "It's okay. Just tell me if you have a mission." Knowing that the Tianlong people didn't do anything to Tyr, Warring States breathed a sigh of relief. "As long as you're okay, I have an urgent mission for you to do." Blackbeard and his gang disappeared in Marineland, and Impelled Down was invaded. I'll go immediately. Please, tell, our headquarters can no longer spare any troops. The Holy Land is very close to Impelled Down City, and it only takes half an hour to reach Tyr." Looking back at the shy and charming Shalulia, Tail leaned over and pinched her chin. "Goodbye. Hope never to see you again. Untouchable, I am a god, it is illegal for you to disobey the god's wishes." The rosy and satisfied expression really surprised Tyr. She no longer had any dignity as a celestial dragon in front of Tyr. This was her first time, and she also experienced the joy of being a celestial dragon other than abusing the civilians of the world. "I have never seen such a moist god," Tyr said with endless aftertaste, grinning. He took his black knife and left this big house full of crystal hanging chains. Chapter 44. A thief is a thief. Half an hour later. Tyr overlooks the entire Impelled Down City Great Prison from above the cloud-filled Impelled Down City. It seems that it has been invaded. He looked at the huge gate of Impel City that had been destroyed, and there were more than 10 jailer soldiers who were killed outside. "Are you okay?" After flying down, Tyr squatted in front of a still-breathing jailer and asked about the situation. "Blackbeard." A group of them invaded Impelled Down City. The jailer looked up and was a little shocked to find that it was Tyr. He, if you say, it will definitely work. Hello." Not long after the jailer guarding the gate opened his mouth, a mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth and the breath of life disappeared. Like a soldier who has completed his final mission, he always falls asleep in front of Tyr. Everyone died in almost the same way, with an extremely painful struggle before death. "I'm afraid this news is the reason why I came to Sengoku. There is no warship, Ace has been taken away." Exploring the surrounding situation, Tell walked into the Impel City. There is a high probability that Ace has been escorted away. After the lieutenant general who escorted Ace left Impel Down, Blackbeard had already entered. Along the way, Tell found injured people and a large number of corpses everywhere. Even the jailers who were not dead were all defeated and fainted on the spot, unable to move. "Let me see if you are black or white." This was what Ty said to Luffy, although he couldn't hear it. In his impression, Luffy has always been a righteous pirate. Although he has the name of a pirate, he also does righteous things. Tyr, who turned into a ball of sword energy, came from the first floor to the entrance of the 4th floor. The temperature here is very high. Just after entering the 4th floor of Impel City, you cross the magma-filled suspension bridge and enter a huge scorching torture chamber. Taylor saw a very classic scene. Crocodile held a cigar in his mouth, raised his head and glanced at the sword aura floating in, smoke. He was suspended at the top of the room. Crocodile mistook Tyr for the smoke from Luffy's body that spread to the ceiling after turning on Gear 2. Gathered here are the revolutionary army of monsters, the original 7 warlords of the sea, Sand Crocodile, Seaman, Jinbei, and Luffy wearing a yellow vest shirt. One has devil horns and is dressed like an ancient Egyptian. Holding a double-edged long-handled knife, he faced the escaped prisoner who was traveling with the Straw Hat crew alone. "Don't get in my way, Ace. Ace is still waiting for me to save him." Luffy activated the 2nd gear and swung the jet machine gun to hit Hannibal's bruised body. Advertisement, His strength was simply no match for Luffy, who turned on Gear 2, and was beaten again until he vomited blood and fell down. All the pirates had expressionless faces, including Jinbei, who was full of righteous remarks, acting extremely cold at this moment. Seeing Hannibal fall down again, Luffy ran towards the 6th floor gate. Suddenly, Hannibal reached out and pinched his feet and stood up again, throwing him into the room and away from the door. "As long as I'm still standing, you guys can't even get past this." Hannibal stood guard in front of the gate with a knife. Although his body was seriously injured, he still stood in front of this group of invincible opponents. I'm going to save Ace. B****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** steam all over his body. Drop. Drop. Hannibal's body was covered in scars, and blood flowed from his forehead through his eyes to the ground. What are you saying about saving my brother? Hannibal knelt down on one knee and dug his knife into the floor, dripping blood, and continued, the scum of society should stop saying nice things. He was so injured that his whole body was shaking just by talking. It's not because he's afraid of the 27 warlords of the sea in front of him, or it's because he's afraid of the unheard of pirate Straw Hat. It is the responsibility that comes with being the second chair in Impel-Down City's great prison. You are just notorious pirates and rebels. Even if his nose is bleeding, his head is broken by the Straw Hat Boy, and the blood from his mouth keeps falling to the floor. He didn't even take a step back. As long as you are still at sea, people will stay up all night for fear of losing their loved ones. Therefore, in order to make the weak people feel at ease, I will put the vicious criminals in prison. As he spoke, he stood up straight again with great difficulty. This is the big fortress of hell. If this place is destroyed, people will fall into infinite panic. He opened his bloody hands in front of the huge door, as if he wanted to block the door with his scarred body. I said I won't let you pass, so I won't even think about it. Get out of my way, Ace is about to be executed. These words stimulated Tyr's brain. In the 4 years since he joined Marine, he has witnessed countless island disasters and silently paid attention to everything below. Every word was the same as what he said, even more cruel. The cruelty of pirates is far more terrifying than what Hannibal said. No matter men, women, old or young, they can't escape the plunder of pirates. In this chaotic and deformed era, Tyr still has a good impression of the Straw Hat Kid. Rubber G-at pistol. Bang! Luffy attacked Hannibal again and knocked Hannibal back again with one punch. Ace's life is important to me, and it doesn't matter to anyone else, so get out of my way, Luffy said to Hannibal. Advertisement. His unwavering determination to rescue Ace prevented him from stopping here. Deputy Warden, fall down and don't get up again, at least you can live. Sure enough, it's useless to say anything to the pirates. I've wasted so much time in vain. The moment Hannibal finished speaking and attacked Luffy. Countless screams came from the circular staircase passage where 1,000 jailers were deployed. Everyone was attracted by the sound. The huge dark aura sucked all the jailers into it, and Blackbeard, who had been peeping outside for a long time, emerged from the dark aura. Stop talking about justice and evil. Even if you search all over the world, you still can't find the answer. Blackbeard trampled the seriously injured Hannibal under his feet, and the dark air behind him released all the jailers who had been sucked into it. Under this blow, Hannibal completely lost consciousness and fainted. That guy was met on Guy Island. Luffy was a little surprised to see Blackbeard. Recalling the first time I met him on Guy Island, he showed an evil expression like a pirate and looked at the heavy-duty prisoners who escaped from prison with Luffy. There are really a lot of big shots gathered here. Captain, there's something on the ceiling. At this moment, the sniper of the Blackbeard pirates keenly observed Tell, raised his gun and took aim, but Tell fired a shot. Silent bullets shot out and flew toward Tyr. The elemental Tail immediately controlled the sword energy to avoid it, and Tail, who returned to his human form, sat cross-legged in the air with a fierce look on his face. He had just gotten the answer. At this moment, Luffy could no longer clear his name no matter what. A thief is a thief, no matter what the reason is, he cannot get rid of this title. You are. Blackbeard's entire body trembled, and his body immediately took a few steps back involuntarily. The brat who defeated Kizaru in the Holy Land, Vice Admiral Marine from the Saboti Islands a few days ago, why is he here? Tyr fell in front of the gate and released explosive conquerors less than 10 meters away from Blackbeard's group. Oh. Everyone was blown away by Tyr's dominance. He looked at these people, including Luffy, as if they were dead. He walked up to Hannibal, grabbed his huge body and threw him outside the door, and then slowly closed the door to the 3rd floor. Has Marine's support arrived so soon? He is still the new heavyweight lieutenant general who has become famous recently. Help! Are you going to hinder me too? Even though Luffy was shocked, he firmly questioned Tail at this moment. The answer to what I have been pursuing for a long time has been obtained. Tail walked towards the crowd with a knife in one hand. I am not going to stop you, but I want to kill all of you. Chapter 45. The Dark Fruit ability is activated. The appearance of Tyr really surprised Blackbeard. He originally disappeared 2 days ago. Why did he appear in Impel-Down City immediately? Seeing this, he immediately spoke to incite others. Hey, no matter what you think now, we must unite, otherwise we may really be destroyed here. What did you say? That guy is stronger than a general, and he's a madman who kills pirates without blinking an eye. The only people present who knew Tyr well were Jinbei and Blackbeard. Others were almost completely unaware of Tell's existence. The atmosphere in the room was very solemn, and Tyr, who was full of murderous intent, made everyone feel that something was wrong. Jet bullet. When Luffy and others were worried, he directly attacked Tyr. The power was gathered in the center of his fist, and he was about to strike at Tyr with all his strength, when his whole body suddenly trembled. What's going on? The feeling and picture just now. He withdrew his fist and found that the moment he punched, his whole body was cut to pieces with thousands of knives, and his head was in different places. Is it a sign of the awakening of sight and hearing? Sure enough, you can only see it if you are infinitely close to death. Tyr noticed something strange about Luffy. He was judged to be awakened by seeing, hearing, and feeling. Although I don't know who you are. Crocodile noticed the strong murderous intention in Tyr and said, but if we don't unite at this moment to kill him, maybe everyone will die. That's right, this guy is extremely powerful. Jinbei looked wary of Tyr in an idiot fighting posture. The fishman is indeed a thief, Jinbei. I can disable his ability, and then you can attack him to your heart's content, Blackbeard said. I can use my domineering energy to resist his slashing attack. 3-7 warlords of the sea, including Blackbeard, who was able to fight Shanks more than 10 years ago and injured him. Even with such a lineup, Teal was not afraid at all. Ha ha ha, Lieutenant General, we are companions. If you mess around, can you win with this lineup? Sword energy. Wait. You can't use your abilities in this small place. Blackbeard stretched out his palm to Tyr. An irresistible gravitational force sucked Tyr madly as he was undergoing elementalization. Tell, who sensed something was wrong, found that even his own body had been touched by him. Immediately, Tyr slashed out a sword energy that tore apart the space and rushed towards Blackbeard. Ha ha ha, it's useless. Neither long-range attacks nor devil fruit ability attacks are of any use to me. You're not the only one who can be domineering. If the dark fruit is equipped with Haki, it can also absorb long-range attacks with Haki. Advertisement: the price is to pay the same amount of domineering energy. The flying slash containing powerful power collided with the dark airflow in the blink of an eye. Tyr saw that his domineering slash was absorbed by Blackbeard, thus breaking away from the shackles of gravity. As long as you don't get locked in, wouldn't it be fine? Taylor started to move quickly. At this moment, he was really happy that he had worked hard to practice swordsmanship and physical skills. Blackbeard couldn't see Tyr's movements clearly. Haha. This is a life-and-life battle. Don't underestimate me, Dark Point. Darkness bloomed in the room, and the entire floor was covered by Blackbeard's power. Tyr had no foothold and was ready to fly up to evade his ability at that moment. Blackbeard immediately aimed his palm at himself. If you fly into the air, you will be restrained by gravity, but if you fly in the dark airflow, you will be trapped in place and unable to move. Tyr reacted immediately, letting conquerors bloom all over his body without any reservation of strength. It only takes one strike to defeat you all. The black sword wrapped around conquerors was inserted into the ground, and Tyr's fingertips condensed huge sword energy. The 9 body-protecting swords rushed out of the body instantly and formed a circular sword array around the black sword. Xian Ming 9 swords. The first sword, Tyr flicked upward. Boom. A sword sound accompanied by sword energy ravaged the entire room. Those who don't want to die, come to me quickly, otherwise, don't blame me if you die. Blackbeard didn't panic at all when he saw this. The dark fruit was activated with all its strength, forming a dark shield wall near the dark acupoint to isolate all the sword sounds. Can this be absorbed too? The sword cry spread, and Tyr was a little shocked as he watched the sword cry disappearing on the dark fruit airflow wall. Ha 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 ha, I am very experienced in facing ability users, Lieutenant General Tyr. The power of each sword will increase exponentially. How many can you block? Darkness can swallow all matter and creatures, even your moves can't do it. Damn it, I don't have time to make trouble with him here. Teach, although I don't want to cooperate with you, it seems there is no other way now. Jinbei, as long as we get rid of him, everyone can survive. Logia's ability can fight Logia. Let me join in. Crocodile summoned sand to form a shield wall, and formed 2 indestructible defenses with the dark fruit to block the sound of the sword. They tried their best to activate the fruit's ability, and with the abnormal absorption ability of the dark fruit, they were able to withstand Tyr's 9 swords of Xianming. Advertisement: the 9 swords and 9 sounds have a leisurely rhythm, and there seems to be an invisible power contained in the sword sounds. If placed on a densely populated battlefield, a large number of enemies can be killed before the battle begins. Hee, I have to praise your cooperation, scumbags. Tyr retracted the 9 sword blades, held the black knife in his hand, and 9 red flying swords floated behind him. Seeing Tyr's unknown power, Blackbeard felt very bad. Listen carefully, I will completely disable his devil fruit ability later. Of course, I will not be able to make any attacks. Then are you planning to be lazy? Hole, this is a battle for our lives. If we don't go all out, that man will never let us go. He is a madman, the kind with mental problems. Blackbeard. Luffy looked at Blackbeard. Ace had locked up this rough man in front of him. He was also the one who triggered the beginning of this huge war. Although he didn't want to cooperate with him, it seemed that there was no other way. Faced with this situation, there were still people questioning himself, and Blackbeard was very unhappy. If Tyr hadn't appeared, he could have led his companions straight to the 6th floor. Any strategy is useless. It would be a miracle if you could defeat me, Tyr said coldly. His strength was not only cultivated, but also honed in life and death battles. If you don't have enough strength to escape from him, it is simply more difficult than climbing to the sky. Haha, I don't think so. Without much time to announce the strategic plan, he stretched out his palm towards Tyr from a distance. The dark vortex appeared in his palm again, aiming at Tyr in the distance. But this time there is no gravity, but the air directly binds Tyr's body. Ahem. This is it. The moment he felt his body being squeezed, Tyr gritted his teeth. The 9 swords behind him also disappeared, although knowing the power of the dark fruit will make people lose their devil fruit abilities. But this long range and unreasonable move surprised Tyr. Don't you need to touch the devil fruit itself to make its power disappear? Dark Seal. Blackbeard releases a wave of dark energy, surrounding everything around him in darkness. The ability to seal Tyr was simultaneously stripping away his physical strength bit by bit. Taste the power of darkness, Sword God Tyr. You haven't tasted failure for a long time, haven't you? The sword energy has been sealed. Tyr never thought that his ability would be sealed through the air. Ha, ha, Blackbeard began to pant heavily, having just consumed his own abilities as the price for absorbing Tyr's moves. It's not a small loss for him. What are you doing? Go up and kill him. Chapter 46. Poison Q's ability, Tyr's sudden illness. He can't hold on to such a move. Talby looked at them with increasingly dark eyes. Have you forgotten that hockey is the natural enemy of devil fruit? Why ha ha ha, I'll go first, Captain. Wearing a mask and being as strong as the bandit badgers, he rushed directly towards Tyr, and his companions around him no longer hesitated. Badgers punched Tyr, and Tyr immediately responded. Although he has lost his abilities, his physical skills and swordsmanship are still so powerful that these people cannot touch him. He suddenly waved the black knife in his hand. The second when the fist collided with the black knife. The blade of the black knife cut through the bones of his fist and cut directly into Badger's entire arm. In just 1 second, Badger's entire arm was cut in half by Tell, and it fell on his arm, which was extremely bloody. The arm was. The next moment Badger's was struck by Tell with a knife directly from his arm, intending to cut him in half. The huge Shinigami sickle was taken out from behind a sick man, and Poison Q knocked back Tyr with one blow. Then some devil fruit abilities were released in the air. This made Tyr feel bad. He breathed some of the disease into his body and immediately stepped back and covered his mouth and nose. It's not a virus. This feeling, it is the Shinigami, Poison Q of the Blackbeard pirates. Tyr began to wrap his arms around the black knife, then held the handle of the knife with his backhand, aimed at Tyr, and threw it hard. Ah! My palm! Blackbeard screamed loudly. His pain was twice that of a normal person. Like an arrow from God, it penetrated his palm in an instant, making his abilities useless. Poison Q, who was about to wield the scythe, also chose to protect Blackbeard after he was injured. Ah! You monster! Why are you so powerful after being affected by my ability? Blackbeard immediately covered his palms and screamed in pain. Blood flows into the ground. Black thunder and lightning bloomed all over Tyr. Jinbei and Crocodile appeared on Tyr's side, and Luffy activated the strongest third-gear giant fist to hit Tyr. The poisonous needle of Ivankov's glove appeared behind Tell, and Daz Bones and other pirates all attacked Tell. Except for a guy with a scythe-like hand who stayed still. They attacked Tyr from all sides. The moment the fruit's ability was released, his body once again condensed the 9 red flying swords and rushed towards them. In an instant, all the moves of the 4 of them were blocked by Red Sword, forming a fight. Luffy's giant fist was quickly defeated. Crocodile's desert sword was instantly shattered, and the red-edged sword controlled by Tyr sent him flying and hit a nearby wall. Ivankov's body was penetrated by the red sword into his chest, causing fatal injuries immediately. Daz Bonus and Xiao Feng were instantly beheaded by Tyr's red sword. The offensive of several people was instantly broken by Tyr, leaving Jinbei the only one who could collide with Tyr's red sword. Advertisement: you actually blocked my Onigasho punch. Jinbei looked shocked as he watched Tail grasp the hilt of a red sword with ease, and then walked towards him. Run away. Let's run away. We can't compete with this guy right now. Blackbeard's partner helped Blackbeard pull out the black knife. Escape to the lower floors of the Impel City. Jinbei. Tail was busy dealing with the 4 people in front of him and did not catch up immediately. You are a Shichibukai. You can avoid such a crime with just one word. Why don't you want to fight the Whitebeard pirates? Father Whitebeard is my benefactor. Do you know how many casualties Fishman Island has reduced under the protection of his reputation? Then you are also a Shichibukai, and you should be his enemy. Although Tyr didn't know what happened to Malinfondo when he was sleeping with Shalulia in the past 2 days. But after so many years, he still had some impressions of the plot of the war on the top. Jinbei was unwilling to take action against the Whitebeard pirates and went to Ma Linfan to cause trouble. Trying to prevent war from happening. I can't do it, he is the benefactor of our fishmen tribe. Tyr stabbed out with his sword, the red sword penetrated his abdomen, and Jinbei felt cold all over and looked down at his stomach. His body was pierced by Tyr, and his strength against the flying sword controlled by Tyr dropped significantly, making him unable to compete with Tyr's flying sword again. Jinbei is exhausted. The red flying sword cut a huge scar on his body. At that moment, Jinbei knew that Tyr had hurt him in a targeted manner. Ah! Jinbei was slashed to the ground in pain. Who are you, monster? Crocodile's eyes were bloodshot as he started to activate his Shasha ability. As long as Jinbei can't move, you can't get out of this prison. Teal immediately shifted his focus to him. Lanjiao, Tyr's body rotated 360 degrees. A blue slash gathered on his feet and was thrown at him. Crocodile was forcibly interrupted when he was about to attack. A pair of armed and domineering fists reached into the sand and pinched his elemental body. Then Tyr raised Crocodile high and slammed it onto the ground. A sunken stone pit was created. Aha! Crocodile coughed out a drop of blood, his expression extremely uncomfortable. You're right. If you are let out, more people will definitely die on the sea. In an instant, Jinbei was seriously injured more than anyone else. Red Sword possesses Ba Tang, so the internal organs in his body are in a mess. Afterwards, Tail walked towards Luffy who was lying on the ground in pain. His palm was cut by the red sword, but it was not cut in half like Badger's. I have to say that the rubber physique is really powerful, but, ahem. Don't. Ace, I can't fall here yet. Luffy struggled to escape from Tyr. The aura of despair filled him with panic. As Tyr said, he suddenly began to cough, and his body suddenly changed dramatically. Muscles begin to become softer, and skin and cells begin to undergo tremendous changes. Advertisement. F*K. What's going on? Tyr looked at the gradually changing body and didn't understand what was going on at all. In less than a minute, he transformed from a man into a graceful and beautiful woman. My chest muscles. Tyr was shocked when he opened his clothes and saw two giant things growing on his original chest muscles. Soft and soft, swaying. No, what's going on? I didn't use female hormones on you. Whether it was his body or various parts, Tyr felt unprecedented changes. All the men's organs became women's organs. Taylor checked his body bit by bit. The moment he checked the important parts, that feeling. Immediately, Tyr fell to the ground with his eyes dizzy. That kind of real body feeling and touch was really unacceptable to him. A sudden illness. Tyr looked red-faced and drunk, and briefly lost all ability to move and fell to the ground. Lying on the ground, my eyes were dim and I was thinking these words. Luffy, Crocodile, Jinbei and Ivankov discovered the abnormality and prepared to flee the scene immediately with severe injuries. However, Jinbei found that he could not stand up at all. Run now, Jinbei. What are you doing? You should leave quickly. I can't leave. He was struck by Tyr's tyrants and suffered a fatal wound to his body, so he no longer had any mobility. Unlike Crocodile, who suffered damage after being elementalized, the other three were still able to move. He is already a dead man. If we delay if this guy wakes up, we will be finished, Crocodile said as he observed Jinbei's injuries. But, Luffy came to Xiao Feng's body in embarrassment, looking at everything in front of him with a desperate expression. Xiao Feng, he obviously saved my life. What are you hesitating about, Straw Hat Boy? Our lives are not decided by you. Crocodile was a little angry about the death of his subordinate Mr. One. If you don't run now, you won't have a chance when Tyr in front of you comes to his senses. Come with me. Revolutionary soldier Imazuna transformed her hands into scissors and cut an escape passage from a nearby wall. Come on, Straw Hat Boy. Ivankov was fatally wounded and forcibly took Luffy away from Xiao Feng's body. At this moment, he held Ben Sam, Xiao Feng's head and realized how cruel the world is. Although Ben Sam is a he was the benefactor who saved Luffy's life once. He couldn't believe that his savior died in front of his eyes. Leaving Jinbei seriously injured, they quickly left Tyr's side. About 10 minutes had passed since Tyr's illness broke out, and he dragged the woman's body up from the ground. How is it possible to fight with such a heavy thing? Damn it. He actually played with me in Tyr looked at his surprisingly large pecs with a blush. This wonderful feeling is not unacceptable. Chapter 47. The released monsters. He originally wanted to use his domineering energy to restore his body to a male body, but Tyr suddenly felt that it was a bit addictive. The moment he walked towards his black knife and bent down to pick it up. Puff. What is your reaction? Lousy as a man. A jailer saw Tell's beautiful silhouette and flawless figure. Nosebleeds spurted out from the nostrils immediately. Heaven. Although there are injuries, no man can resist. Oh, Tai Urban has long hair and is surprisingly handsome. After becoming a woman, she is no less beautiful than any other. Teal. Lieutenant General, you are so beautiful. Looking at the corpses of human demons everywhere, Tyr felt that the gap between himself and them was obvious at this moment. They really wanted it, and Tyr's body really became no different from that of a woman. Where are the rest of them? Tell asked. Run away. Crocodile and the Straw Hats ran towards the third floor. Headquarters said support is on the way. Before the other jailers could appreciate it, Tyr immediately used armament hockey to cancel out the Devil Fruit's abilities. His body slowly returned to that of a man. He shook the black knife in his hand and walked to the seriously injured Jinbei. Who is supporting? Tyr looked at Jinbei lying on the ground. As long as there is no such guy, it would be impossible for the Straw Hats to leave Impel Down City. Chisha, this is your deputy, Lieutenant General Tyr. It's Chisha. What a very capable woman. I usually ignore her a bit. Chisha, a woman who admired Tyr's deeds very much, was specially arranged by Tyr as a major general by the Warring States period. Very capable and smart. She is the kind of woman who is capable of both literary and martial arts. As the Lieutenant General, Chisha is handling all the busy matters these days. Tyr had somewhat forgotten her existence, only remembering that she always did things seriously by his side. Ahem, I'm not willing to give in. Jinbei, who was seriously injured, spoke with difficulty, his eyes gradually becoming gloomy. Like a creature about to lose its life, it is making its last struggle. You are lucky that I got a sudden illness in this situation. Tyr stared at him with his eyes down. I have a proposal, Jinbei. Jinbei's eyes that were about to disappear closed looked at Tyr, whose eyes were red. Advertisement. What's the use of telling me this now? I'll be a dead man in a few minutes. You have devoted your life to protecting the Fishman Island, but you have always been in the pirate camp. You are also pathetic. Invisible, in a closed space, you can't see their whereabouts at all using the hockey of knowledge. I wanted to use the hockey of insight to explore the way Luffy and Crocodile escaped, but I had no idea at all. This hell fortress is surrounded by walls and various levels. The extremely large-scale coverage of the sight color cannot penetrate multiple walls at all. Moreover, they did not have any offensive consciousness. Taylor placed the tip of the black knife between Jinbei's forehead and his eyebrows. After understanding the darkness of this world, he understood why Jinbei joined the pirates and asked the four emperors to protect the Fishman Island. Why not choose Marine? Because of the existence of the world government celestial dragons, they specialize in catching fishmen and going to Marijoya to torture them. A large number of merfolk and fishmen are hunted in the world to please the world noble. Whether it is the world noble, the nobles of the four seas, the Grand Line, or the New World countries, many people love to collect fishmen. He had to defect to the four emperors. None of this meant any emotion or sympathy for Teal. Understanding does not equal sympathy. Pirates deserve to die, and they still have been pirates for so many years. Brother Tiger. Tyr thrust his arm down, and the black knife penetrated his skull, causing his body to freeze and tremble suddenly. In less than 10 seconds, the breath of life was lost. The black knife was drawn. Shaking off the blood on it, Taylor walked downstairs. That 7 warlords of the Sea Jinbei died like this. Incredible. The jailers all looked at Tyr's back, feeling a little chilled in their hearts. Tyr's eyes leading to the lower level showed a gray color. There was only one thing that convinced him, that as long as all these pirates were dealt with, the world would usher in a new dawn. No one can escape Impel Down. As for the tyranny of the celestial dragons, Tyr will also have his own response plan. Then let me end this chaotic era. The Lieutenant General's power was not enough for him to do this, not to mention that the Warring States period treated him as a child. Malinvondo. Tyr, who briefly lost his powers, also lost control of rocks in the clouds of Malinvondo. Advertisement. The moment the sword energy disappeared, he could not stay in the air for long. Therefore, he fell from the clouds of Malinfondo into the military port square where 100,000 elite soldiers were located, and suffered comminuted fractures all over his body. What's wrong? In the office on the top floor of the building behind the execution platform, Warring States heard the movement of the soldiers and looked outside. Portgas d'Ace has not yet been escorted to the execution platform, and his execution is only a few hours away. Malinfondo's huge military strength has been broadcast live all over the world. The scene where Rock's whole body was torn apart by flesh and blood was also spread around the world by phone bugs. This guy is the new member of the red-haired pirates, Rock's Tatsu. I remember that he was tortured by Lieutenant General Tyr. What happened? The Marine executives who learned the news realized that something was wrong, but the main fleet of the red-haired pirates was preventing Kaido from seizing Whitebeard's territory. The cadres in their pirate group did not discover such a thing, but the forces under their command informed the Red Hair of the incident in time. Why at this time? It seems there is no way out. That kid is really messing around. Does he want to expand the scale of the war? This scene was caused by Blackbeard's ability being sealed by the Dark Fruit, which temporarily disabled Tyr's ability. Originally, Rakoda's was Tails' tool to participate in the war on top, waiting for the red-haired pirates to appear and then kill him in front of him in order to anger the red-haired pirates. But the plan cannot keep up with the changes. The door of justice is open. In the Whirlpool Sea area in the center of the three major institutions, Tyr's Lieutenant General's warship is sailing towards the Impel City Sea area. Seeing the door of justice opened without any order really shocked everyone. Sisha stood at the front of the deck holding a phone bug, wearing a cloak of justice and leading the warship to impel down for support. Even the Imperial-grade prison, which is defined as absolutely impossible to be invaded, was invaded at this moment. Is Lieutenant General Tyr okay? Rear Admiral Chisha, even if we use the strong signal phone bug in the warship, we can't contact Lieutenant General Tyr. She was unable to contact Tyr through the phone bug, who was on his way to the 6th floor of Impel Down. Because, as the warden, Shiryu cut off all communication signals. At this moment, everything inside the city cannot be known to the outside world. Did someone cut off the signal? Advance to the 6th floor of the city? Ha 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 ha, we are all going to die anyway for the rest of our lives, why don't you listen to me? You fight to the death in this great prison, and I will give freedom to the one who survives. Blackbeard incited the most violent pirates on the 6th floor to fight. All this lasted for less than 10 minutes, and all the great pirates of the old era survived the fight. The strong survive, the weak die. By the time Tyr arrived on the 6th floor alone, the place was already filled with a strong aura of death. What's going on? Tyr summoned 9 red swords and placed them around his body in alert. Chapter 48 Tyr. I will be your opponent, everyone, no matter what era you are from, please listen to me now. Tyr followed Blackbeard's voice and arrived outside a huge cage prison. There is a very troublesome guy in this great prison right now, I need to use your help. Walking through the dark corridor, Taylor felt an unprecedented sense of crisis. Apart from 4 Emperor's-level guys, almost no one else can make his current strength feel a sense of crisis. Listening to Blackbeard's inflammatory remarks, Tyr felt it as soon as he walked out of the downward staircase corridor. A feeling of oppression like a huge wave entered Tyr's heart. This is Leadfield? Taylor glanced at all the important people inside. Douglas Bullet, Waddell, Destroyer of Worlds, besides. Hey, why don't you go out and make a scene again? Shakibi ******* D. Shaki, whose 20-year plan was ended by the Straw Hats, could never imagine that he would be defeated by a kid and imprisoned in Impel Down again. After surviving, he walked into a prison cell, locked the iron door and lay down in it. Go away, Red Earl, I'm tired of the pirate life. Faced with Redfield's persuasion, Golden Lion Shaki did not waver. Then lend me your weapon. Redfield, who was skinny, walked out of the cell holding a pair of Golden Lion knives. The moment he saw Tell, Devil Sheriff Lafitte was so frightened that he backed away. Are you here, thief? Haha. Everyone immediately noticed Tyr's arrival, and they also knew that if they wanted to escape from this place, they must kill all the jailers and marines who stood in their way. A little brat makes you Blackbeard pirates so scared? An old guy who had been frozen for decades stood up and walked towards Tyr. If you have the ability, go ahead and try it, thief, haha. Anyway, if we all want to escape, we have to pass through the gate behind him. Looking at the approaching World Destroyer, Waddell, Tyr began to think of countermeasures quickly. Once he fights these masters, Tyr will not be able to spare his hands to take care of Blackbeard. I don't have the patience to fight you, Marine brat. Momo speeds up 100 times. Burndy Waddell took the lead in attacking Tyr, hoping to quickly escape from the hell that had frozen him for decades. His speed was so fast that it caused explosive ripples of air in the dark space. Annihilation. Tyr's expression condensed, and the black knife in his hand was wrapped with a large amount of domination and sword energy. Tyr's fighting method is to use full strength. This fighting method will also consume a lot of physical strength, domineering energy, and sword energy. How can Marine be such a powerful conquerors? Huh. The moment the sword move was launched, Bullet, who was resting in the cell, immediately looked at Tell. Compared with other old and frail guys, he is the only one who is still at the peak of his strength. Get out of the way, Marine brat. After being frozen for decades, he still has the most violent temper among the pirate forces. Walder appeared behind Tyr in an instant, and threw out an explosive punch. Advertisement. Sword Chi. Red and Black Thunder lingered around him, and Tail, who turned around quickly in advance, had already predicted the trajectory of his attack. The black knife created a huge crack in the ground, and Tyr swung the knife from bottom to top at Burndy Wald behind him with all his strength. The ground cracked with a thud as Tyr's feet stepped on it. So fast, Walder looked at Tyr's super-fast movements in shock, the moment his armed and domineering fist collided with the blade. He thought it would be a collision, but found that his domineering fist was directly deployed by Tyr's black knife. You're all mine. The mournful sword slashed horizontally, and the red sword energy penetrated Burndy Waddle's arm. Tyr exerted force again, and the veins in his wrist muscles exploded. The moment the blade cuts through the shoulder bone, Walder's expression changed drastically. No. Boom. The lingering black knife penetrated Walder's upper body. The blade penetrates the body. Tyr looked at Walder with a frightened face while swiping his sword. Terrible black thunder surrounded Tyr's body. I lost. Walter found that his upper body was leaving his body, and he was very confused about this. Prevent. After half of his body fell to the ground, blood stained the ground under Tyr's feet red. One blow. Blackbeard was so shocked that he backed away again, wanting to escape from Tyr's sight immediately. Bound by the red sword, Tyr, who instantly killed Walter, immediately controlled the red sword and rushed towards Blackbeard. 5 red flying swords rushed towards him in an instant, piercing Blackbeard's limbs and binding him to the wall. Hey, I'm 7 warlords of the sea, you can't do this to me. Blackbeard noticed something was wrong and immediately spoke to Tyr in the name of Shichibukai. Ding! A pale, skinny old man with white hair held a knife in both hands and wanted to leave the 6th floor. Shave. Upon seeing this, Tyr immediately activated the 6th form of Marine. Bang! A violent explosion occurred under his feet, and he disappeared instantly and rushed towards the old man who wanted to escape from this level. As he expected, these guys hardly knew how to work as a team. If he were to fight alone, Tyr felt there was still hope to fight against these guys. As long as his ability is not sealed, he still has the power to fight. So the moment he killed Waddell, he used all his strength to restrain Blackbeard. Boom! Tyr swung his knife at the old man who wanted to leave the 6th floor, and the black knife clashed with the 2 famous knives in his hand. Advertisement 2 streams of fierce conquerors domineering energy were released throughout the 6th floor, causing a shattering collision. This guy has conquerors too, Teal was surprised. Although we know that New World conquerors are very cheap, there are not many that can truly dominate. Don't get in my way, Marine brat. Drink. Tyr, who didn't want to talk to him, exploded with strength and directly hit him back into the Impel City. Black sword domain. Then, Tyr quickly reached out and sealed the only entrance to escape the Impel City. Hundreds of black swords formed a wall to seal the entrance, and Tyr raised his sword to face these vicious guys. I said, no one can get out. Tyr, with the black knife standing in front of him, said harsh words to all of them. Redfield, who was knocked away by Taylor, fell to the ground and stabilized his body, sweating on his forehead and panting heavily. His already old body is simply not strong enough for him to fight for a long time, or compete in endurance competitions. Seeing that the partners of the Blackbeard pirates were going to save Blackbeard, Tyr stretched out his hand to control the 5 red swords on his body. Bound of sword prison. The red sword energy that had been condensed for several years blossomed in Blackbeard's body. A sword energy prison was formed, which isolated and bound Blackbeard with all his strength. The dark fruit can no longer be reborn into the sea. This ferocious ability will always be sealed in Impel Down City. I didn't expect that after all these years of being imprisoned in Impel Down, such a monster would appear in Marine. What a terrifying ability that is. The aura began to condense into countless sword blades floating behind him. Paramisha and Logia, we must unite to defeat him, otherwise, everyone will be unable to leave the 6th floor. Blackbeard screamed and roared. I didn't expect there to be such a level, it's worthy of Impel Down. Magellan didn't come, but a more terrifying guy came. Besides, he's still a young brat. Almost no one among the pirates here knew Tyr. The ability user caught by Tyr in the previous fight had already been killed by them. Even if they die in battle, these people cannot be allowed to go back. At this moment, Tyr no longer showed any kindness to the pirates, and finally the line of defense against the pirates completely collapsed on Luffy. As thieves, all of them will die. This is his only concept at the moment. Because, Teal has been exposed to too many horrific scenes in the past 4 years. Looking for the little girl who burned her family in a pool of blood. The young man who knelt down and cried in despair before committing suicide in a sea of blood and corpses. Everything in this world is not so bright, and there is no passion brought by adventure. There are only the common people of the world who are plundered by pirates all the time. Except for the civilians who have joined the country to protect them, civilians living in other parts of the world are like hell. In short, the existence of pirates is far more harmful than the celestial dragons. The Tianlong people can just let them settle down in order to satisfy the respect they need for their full power status. Pirates are different, they are lawless, and the freedom they talk about is burning, killing, looting, committing adultery and causing chaos. Although some pirates were let go by Tyr before, most of the pirates he encountered died under his sword. The rotten scum of the old era, and the 4 new pirates who were captured by me and Impel Down a few days ago, come here all at once, I will be your opponent. Countless sword blades were spinning rapidly in the 6th level of the Impel City. Tyr faced them alone with his sword. Chapter 49 The Tragic Death of the Legendary Pirate Redfield. It's that kid who's supporting us, he's so troublesome. In the control room of Impel City, Shiryu of the Rain, who destroyed all communication devices, took a knife and made a decision. A plan was reached with Blackbeard, and he would cut off all communication between here and the outside world, and then rush to Eternal Hell to join Blackbeard. Knowing that Tell was supporting him, he changed the battle plan through the control room. Crocodile, Ivankov, Straw Hat Luffy, and Buggy the Clown. In addition, countless cruel pirates who were released by Luffy are doing their best to fight the Warden, Magellan. Except for the clown Buggy and his gang, everyone else was severely injured by Tyr's move. If this continues, Shiryu smoked a cigar and looked at everything in the control room. When Magellan's support reaches the 6th floor, the plan will fail. Therefore, Shiryu made a major decision and went to the Straw Hat prison break team in person. Stop Magellan. Shiryu took his demon sword Thunderstorm and personally went to find his close friend who used to defend Impel Down City together. This hell has left me with no hope. You used your domineering energy to offset my sick fruit ability. I thought you would appear as a woman. The sword energy raged like a mountain and waterfall on the 6th floor of the Impel City, launching an all-round attack on the pirates. The remaining 4 red swords fought against the 4 supernovas, Kid, Urki, Hawkins, Apu and others. Boom! Hyaming Apu aimed at Tyr's body and knocked on the big drum on his chest. The explosive attack, which exceeded the speed of sound, instantly exploded in Tyr's chest. Part of his body was blown into the shape of sword energy. Tyr's red sword also penetrated his chest with one sword, killing him almost instantly. Hey! Douglas Bullet! Bullet! Blackbeard yelled in pain, trying to attract a huge man sitting in a cell. Although he was wearing prison uniform, his terrifying muscle lines could still be seen from the appearance of the prison uniform. You little brat who doesn't know what it means to be strong, do you really know how to do conquerors? Then come and experience it for yourself, whether I can do it or not. Facing the provocation of the old Redfield, Tyr remained calm while controlling countless white swords and 9 red swords to fight with others. Now he can still face these guys with ease. You are so courageous. I love you so much, little boy. The 2 swords in Redfield's hands suddenly appeared with golden light, and they penetrated into the swords like thunder. Although he is old, the Conqueror's domineering energy accumulated in his body over the years is still as strong as ever. You can't deceive me. My knowledge can observe people's hearts. You are very scared to face us now. So what? Tyr remained expressionless, and the black knife in his hand was already entangled with powerful sword energy. Advertisement red thunder and lightning bloomed all around Tyr. Why? This guy was obviously very scared. Why did he dare to inspire domineering fighting? Redfield didn't understand Tyr's actions at all. His knowledge and color can see people's hearts and memories. In order to know Tyr's strength, Redfield used his own knowledge to pry into Tyr's heart. This sight completely stunned him. He found that Tell's memories before he was 10 years old were all vague, and his memories before he was 14 years old were normal. 14. The memories from now on are either on the battlefield of desperate battles, or in a pool of blood fighting against strong men. Although many people have failed, the cultivation that is countless times harder than ordinary people is almost incomprehensible. Suddenly, a pair of scarlet eyes in tears stared at him, forcibly interrupting his introspection into memories. What is this? You are still dating the celestial dragons. Are you really a human being? Annihilation. Although his body and mind were frightened, Tyr's actions did not scare them at all. The justice behind him will not allow these guys to go out and cause trouble in this chaotic world. Boom. The ground beneath Taylor's feet burst into pieces in an instant, and he rushed toward Redfield with a knife in his hand. You little marine with no hair at all, let me teach you what real swordsmanship is. Sword Chi. Seeing Tyr's determination and firmness as he swung his sword smoothly, Redfield could no longer calm down. Determined to kill the guy in front of him, he returned to the sea to pursue his pirate glory. Get out of the way. Van Oka of the Blackbeard Pirates noticed something was wrong and immediately crouched down to prepare to resist the impact. Magnetism Iron Wall. Kid, who was released and survived, used magnetism to control the entire iron prison threshold on the 6th floor as a defensive means to continuously resist Tyr's sword energy. Looking at the conquerors in the hands of Tyr and another sword-wielding old man on the 6th floor, it made him think that his conqueror's awakening was wrong? Can conquerors still be used in this way? He never knew. A large amount of iron was squeezed in front of him, quickly forming a thick steel wall that acted as a shield in front of him. Others immediately ran behind Kid, seeking shelter. The collision of moves between strong men can easily kill someone. I hope that guy Red Earl kills that brat, otherwise we will all be finished. Go away, this is not shelter for you, don't be so stingy, we pirates must unite to deal with that guy now. While chatting, advertisement the black sword in Taylor's hand collided with Shiki's famous sword in Redfield's hand. Everything around him was cut into pieces by a terrifying sword wind, and Kid's steel wall was also cut open in an instant. The pirates hiding behind him were all knocked away by the impact. The Scarlet Sword energy storm raged around the surroundings, and the arms of Redfield and Tyr began to tremble violently as they collided. His old body couldn't last long, but now he couldn't escape. It's coming next. Even he himself didn't expect that Tyr could take the sword he unleashed with all his strength. You are proud and don't take anyone seriously. The teacher told me your story. As the teacher who developed the ability of tell fruit, warring states often talked to him about various things in the old times. Teacher? Redfield's body strength gradually weakened, and he could not resist Taylor's strength and began to move backwards. Who was your teacher? You don't need to know this. Although you had extremely powerful swordsmanship and physical skills when you were young, you are just an old scum now. Zeetsa. The muscle strength of Taylor's arms suddenly exploded and he swung the knife fiercely. Boom. The ground collapsed due to Tyr's force, and the bones in Redfield's waist dodged because they could not withstand Tyr's strength. Hateful. Without the support of his strength, the famous swords in his hands could no longer resist Tyr's suppression. Ah! Tyr shouted loudly. The sword energy rushed out of the body and wrapped around the black knife. With one sword stroke, Redfield's body was squeezed until his blood vessels exploded. A large amount of blood spurted out of his old body. His body began to compress bit by bit under the oppressive power of Tyr's black knife. Ah! The main body is injured, and the supply of domineering energy is naturally lost. Redfield, who was screaming in pain, looked at Tyr's face that was exerting too much force, and his eyes suddenly shrank to the size of a thin needle. I saw the revolving door of his life from birth to being imprisoned and impelled down. A dying person can really see everything in the past. The black knife squeezed Redfield into the ground from top to bottom, forming a huge pit. His bones cracked and broke, eventually turning into a pool of bloody meatloaf and completely losing his life. Boom. The red barrier aura spread around, and Tyr took the blade back in his hand and looked at Redfield, who had become a puddle of flesh. Huh, Tyr gasped while holding the knife. Whose turn is it next? Chapter 50. Yerke's full blow risking his life. As he expected, all the old strong men of the old era had the ability to resist unless they were physically unable to move. The ending of that legend turned out to be a human flesh pie. I'm just telling you. What kind of pirate are you doing? Why don't you have someone feeding you while you're lying in a cell? The Red Earl. Golden Lion Shaki noticed that Redfield was killed by Taylor and immediately spoke. He didn't want to go back to the sea at all. The plan that had been carefully prepared for 20 years was stopped by Luffy and his gang. He couldn't accept this no matter what. Boom! When the guys from the Blackbeard Pirates saw that Tail was exhausted, they immediately attacked him. Ho ho ho. In terms of physical skills, I have never lost to any man. The person who came to Tyr was Katrine Dimai. She immediately put on heavy makeup after coming out of prison, wearing a black and white striped plaid prison uniform, and had a tall and long nose. The overall appearance gave Tyr the feeling of a witch, making him feel that the woman in front of him was very ugly. Very disgusting. And I also like to torture little men like you. I really want to see how I torture you. Tyr held the knife in both hands and quickly slashed at her with a scarlet slash. No strength, no mercy. The flying slash with red thunder quickly penetrated the body with a knife, and a line of white light appeared in the center of Katrine Dimai's body. After reacting, she looked at the center of her breasts with a horrified expression and said, "You." Before she could show her strength, Tyr beheaded him with one blow. Then he immediately used his sense of sight to evade Fan Oka's silent bullets. The first thing you do after coming out is to paint yourself with death makeup. It seems that you are saying goodbye to yourself. Tyr said coldly, looking at the divided Katrine Demi. The tone was emotionless. Her body was cut into two halves by Tell's knife and fell to the ground. She still had an expression of never resting in peace until she died. Whether it was close combat or long-range combat, they were all shocked and desperate by Tyr's strength. Just when everyone was having a headache, Bullet walked out of prison. Each cut consumes a huge amount of Tyr's domineering energy, so he is breathing more and more rapidly now. Mist gasped from his mouth. "Deathless Bullet, are you looking for death too? Releasing Conqueror's Haki with all your strength will consume a lot of energy, right?" Bullet revealed Tyr's fighting style with one word, and his fists were wrapped with armed domineering force. When the black group saw that Bullet was about to take action, they acted as a backup force to cover him. After all, this is not just playing around. After seeing Tyr's terrifying strength and decisiveness, no one dares to be careless. Advertisement. Which one is better, your swordsmanship or Mr. Rayleigh's? Tyr clenched the handle of the knife in his palms, sweat dripping from his forehead to the ground across his cheeks. The guy in front of him is truly powerful, there is no weakness in his strength. Age is also the peak of integrity. Let's cooperate and kill him. If there is more internal strife and disunity, none of us will be able to get out. The outside world is so interesting now, so let me see the power of Marine again. Bullet's expression was full of confidence and expectation as he laughed and ran towards Tyr. Extremely fast. Boom. When Van Oka saw him attacking, he immediately fired bullets to cover him. "I'll cover you too." Bask Shote, who had just joined the black group, took a bottle of wine and poured it into his mouth. His mouth puffed up and he spat out a stream of flames towards Tyr. The drunkard's fire. A column of flames with temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees rushed toward Ty. Having just dodged the bullet, he immediately elementally transformed to avoid it. The pillar of fire penetrated Tyr's body and hit a cell wall. "Get out of the way, you Stas kid." Ulki used his huge body to block the sword energy blade controlled by Tyr, and blocked it with his hands in front of his chest to force the sword energy to impact his body. He wants to use the fruit's ability to launch an unprecedented counterattack against Tyr. Are you crazy? If we don't defeat him, all of us will die in this dark Impel city. Ulki looked at Apu and Hawkins, who had been defeated by the red sword on the ground. They had no strength to resist at all. Even if it's just Tyr's flying sword, humanoid ultimate cannon. Tyr, who was avoiding the attack, looked at the weapon in Bullet's hand and immediately ignited the sword energy of the blade in his hand to defend himself. The domineering black and purple arm color represents the top armed color. The weapon color used by Bullet happens to be black and purple, which is enough to dominate and compete. He happened to also have Batang, but he didn't use it. Tyr, who also had the top-notch weapon color, was having trouble activating it at the moment. He needed to take a breather from the several times he had used his full strength to kill the pirates with his sword. However, Duan Shao's bullet did not give Tyr any chance to breathe. The combat experience was horrific. Now if Tyr wants to prevent this group of people from returning to the ground, he has to deal with this troublesome guy in front of him. But right now, he couldn't focus at all to gather Batang or armed color. Advertisement boom. The black knife collided with Bullet's fist, and Tyr's body was violently knocked back and moved backwards. The huge strength made it difficult for him to resist, and he was even unable to deflect Bullet's power. What's wrong, kid? Bullet felt that Tyr's power was far inferior to his own, so he mocked, "Where was your arrogance just now?" At this moment, Taylor looked into the distance. All the sword energy released by attacking Supernova was absorbed by Yerke's body. It also caused Ulki to suffer unprecedented physical injuries. Teal thought he would be incapacitated, but the next moment, his pupils shrank suddenly and he looked at him getting up from the ground and getting bigger. Causal reincarnation. The heat wave rushed out of his body, and all of Taylor's attacks just now were absorbed by him and turned into his temporary power. "Get out of here, Douglas Bullet," Teal yelled at him. Seeing Yerke walking slowly towards the huge blazing body, Tyr poured out all the power he could use now. A terrifying power appeared in Tyr's hand, which surprised Bullet. "Kid, are you scared?" The more Bullet saw Tyr acting like this, the more excited he became. Bullet's power was stimulated to the maximum to suppress Tyr. The collision of their moves caused the surrounding ground to collapse and splash. Boom! At this critical moment, Van Oka's silent bullet was fired again. Tyr immediately controlled two red swords to block, because his body was colliding with Bullet at the moment, and he could not achieve elementalization at all. The bullet was intercepted. Those with hockey fighting devil fruit abilities are almost unable to participate, but those with pure physical ability and physical skills can easily make sneak attacks. The remaining two red swords cut through Kid's steel magnetic shield and rushed directly towards Kid's body. The moment he was slashed, he launched a move against Tyr. Magnetism binding. Kid seized the opportunity and activated the fruit ability on Tyr, stopping the nearby steel at his feet. Phew! Scarlet spurted out from his chest, and even so, Kid lay down with a proud smile. "Kill him, big man. That guy is the B************** D who killed Kira." Kid was mortally wounded but still had to restrain Tyr. Yerke's mouth and nose were full of blood, and his body was full of holes penetrated by the white sword. He dragged his body behind Tyr. Seeing him raising his fist and preparing to punch, Tyr immediately formed a small cross-sword shield with 4 swords to block behind him. "Everything is cause and effect. All the harm you have caused me will be returned to you now."